right, welcome everybody to the Sunday show, Arsenal Fan Circle here. You're all welcome. We're all in this together, and that's probably the theme of the show today. We have to go together as manager, players, coaches, and the Arsenal fans as well, home and away. You know what I mean? And yeah, look, there are tests ahead. We go again together. And but Gary, we didn't get much encouragement from the City game today at Fulham.
No, that was a bit. It looked like it was going to be a runaway, and then it looked like it was going to be a nice teaser at the end there, and then it just basically, like usual, the football gods say, "No, no, 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 no. Arsenal fans will not have any joy today. Arsenal fans will sit second in the league for the first time in a very long time. Um, so hopefully we can change that in 2 days. But
Yep,
for now, yeah,
that's got to be
yeah,
the case. It's got to be where we keep applying pressure on them,
yeah,
and you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
this game, this
But
game was.
But I got a mug today, so I'm not using my mug
Yeah,
today.
let's flip to that one really quickly. Liverpool 3-0 up um, by halftime, and then the media bigging up Tottenham and Mason, right? Ryan Mason, is it?
I
Uh,
think Mason, yeah.
Halftime team talk has galvanized Tottenham. They're back. They get back to 3-all with that Richarlison goal, who celebrates like he scored 25 goals this season. It's actually his first goal this season, right?
Yep.
And then I'm asking myself, did Liverpool bottle this against Tottenham? But Tottenham would have one last hand in their own Spursiness. Um, Mora conceding, a, you know, a very bad back pass to Jota, and Jota sliding away.
Yeah, that was. I didn't. Yeah, I didn't. It was funny. I didn't actually see the back pass, but I did see the. I did see Jota basically putting it to the far corner, and it's like, how did that happen? Like how you wonder how does that happen, right? How does that happen like that fast? And of course, we know how fast somebody can score. We've seen it. I
And
mean,
they do say, we've seen it ourselves. You do
yeah.
say, yeah, you're most vulnerable when you do grab a goal yourself, that moment or two afterwards.
Yep. Oh, when that ball kicks off in the corner center circle, you think you've got enough space and time to hold on or to get yourself into the game. Guess what? The other team isn't thinking that way, and obviously Liverpool wasn't, and they just kind of jumped on an opportunity there.
So we're
Yeah.
seeing that team free falling down the league.
Yeah.
They've had.
It is, but and it's like I can't even enjoy it. I don't know
You
about
know
you, but
why?
I can't even enjoy it.
You know why? Because we're in our own turmoil right now, Gary.
Hmm.
And we can tell ourselves we're 15, 20 points ahead of that team.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're ahead of top four. And we got to maintain that through this rest of the season and maintain it into next season, which will be difficult in of itself if we don't our target and bring in the right kind of players
Yep.
and learn from the lessons of the last four games as well.
I hope. Yep. I hope that is. I hope the lessons are learned and we can move forward in the right way. I mean, I felt like I guess the last four matches we've backed up. We've backed into many things. You usually want to cross the line yourself as opposed to somebody just gets disqualified before they cross the line and you get a better place because of it. And that's kind of what's happened for us. I mean, we backed up in the sense that we drew in, and that meant St. Today's Day was going to happen. Couldn't really enjoy that. We backed up later, and I think it was is it Everton or Brighton didn't do enough. Or I think it was Everton. Yeah, Brighton. Somebody didn't do enough, and now we've got top four. So we
Yeah,
are in
Brighton.
the top four. Brighton's
Brighton
in the top.
losing in Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, and we backed into the top four. Like we haven't actually grasped anything and taken it ourselves when we've had the opportunity. Right? We had an opportunity to win a game and take Saint and turn and say St. Today's Day comes, and another day take the 3 points and even say, you know what, fourth place is ours no matter what we do from here on out. So yeah, I don't like backing into things because that just
Mm.
means and that
I
means
mean,
you did really you did all the work, and then you just kind of gave
slowly.
up at the end. Like you kind of like you settled. You're like, all right, we're good. When in reality, you're not. You haven't crossed the line yet, and you got to cross the line in sports because the other team will catch you if you don't. So
Uh, I
because
mean, we
you see like the like in like the marathons where the guy is running and he's got like a mile lead on everybody, and then he's looking over back, looking, nobody sees nobody, and he's taking his time, and next thing you know, there's a guy who's got a second wind and just catches him, and he eventually tries to keep up, and he can't because that guy's on ahead of steam, and he just runs right by him, and you're like, that's kind of where we are right now. And even when we try to catch up, you come up just short, right? Come up just short. So we need to run, we need to plan to play for 90 minutes, and we'll,
yeah.
play through these things.
And listen, I've not really been worried about St. Tottenham's Day or top four because my focus was on a title race, which we're in. Maybe we are still in, and we have to maybe push it now to the last few weeks
Yep.
against City. Even if you don't believe it, even if many fans don't believe we can do it, there's 11 players that have to go out on that field and believe it can be done. And like you say, Gary, we can't slow down. Well, we've been slowing down. We can't slow down to a full stop, a halt right now. We have to go again. We have to re-galvanize ourselves and go again against Chelsea.
Yep.
And this league, this Premier League, is too good of a product, too good of a show. First of all, I'm going to get into the officials a little bit. The officials maybe tarnish this league a little bit, and now it can sound like sour grapes when we're talking like this, right? But we've seen it all through the season.
Yep.
Officials not really giving decisions against Kyle Walker today, pulling down a Fulham player, impeding him in the box, and referee says no, nothing happening there. Move on. There's not even really a VAR check. Everything seems so automatic for Manchester City, and it moves on, and things are forgotten about. Jack Grealish did his best to get sent off, getting the yellow card in the second half, and then berating the official. Like Granit Xhaka, for instance, if he'd have done that, he'd get a second yellow card, you
Yep.
know.
Yep.
And it just doesn't seem fair or right. But this is what we're up against. And I'm sort of seeing a little bit. Maybe Tom was right about the top six bias that the big teams get these calls. You know what I mean?
Well,
Uh,
it's the top six, but there is a hierarchy to this thing because
mhm.
if we're playing City, if we're playing, multiple teams, some of them will get the call before we do. So there's a hierarchy to this thing. So as much as there's a top six bias per se, there is a hierarchy in that structure as well. We saw
Yeah,
it today, right?
yeah.
I mean, how does City gets a penalty and Fulham doesn't?
hmm For similarly soft infringements.
Yeah. So either you can play consistent, you call it consistently, or you let it go, right? One of the pick one.
Yeah, pick one.
Yeah.
Alvarez falls over a knee. The knee's there. Okay, it's a penalty in the harshest terms, harshest requirements possible. But then it doesn't happen in the second half. Pretty much in the same area of the field. You know what I mean? So as you like to do, Gary, there's a few people we can shout out here. Craig,
Arsenal
Arsenal
forever.
Forever,
Hello,
welcome. BX Gunner and the Assemble is here as well. The Arsenal
Stephen.
Misfit
Yep, is in the house as
listener.
well. Yeah.
Tottenham are the best antidepressant there is. Should be available to all on the NHS. They do give us some smiles, right?
Yeah. In for me, I was hoping that I never hope for much, but I was hoping that Liverpool would have bottled the 3-0 lead. That's kind of what I was
Yeah.
hoping for because then I can then I want to hear what they would say about that.
hmm
Yeah, they're at home,
The
up
media.
3-0, and they almost bottled it. That's the problem. It's always almost, right? So.
After
Yeah.
following on last week at Newcastle, and like we have to go to Newcastle. These are the tests that we have to face.
Ugh, yuck.
We have to go to Newcastle next Sunday.
Mm.
You got to look forward to it and see it as an ultimate test and go there. Newcastle playing really well, so but we have to go there and get a result.
Yes, we do.
I would like nothing more than 5 wins to take this thing right to the last
Yeah,
weekend.
that's got to
You
be
know,
the goal. The goal is to see this season out um, the way we kind of started it, right? I think we started it with a
I
number
know.
with 4 or 5 wins in a row. Why not finish it the
Yeah,
same way?
yeah.
We need to
Finish with 5 in a row.
yeah,
Yeah.
we need yep, we need to
We have to hold the club accountable. We have to hold the players accountable.
yep.
Um,
And you know what? It's we started with 5 and the sixth game we lost to Manchester United.
United.
So now we just lost to Manchester City, and it's time for us to go on a 5-win or
Let
streak,
me
winning streak to finish this off.
let me ask you one question. Going back to this Fulham game against City, that Alvarez goal reminded me a little bit of the Martinelli goal up at Old Trafford that was chalked off. But they go back into midfield and check for a foul on Manchester United and get that. Welcome, Sam.
I didn't see what
Um,
happened in the build up to that. I just saw the goal. Hello, Sam.
you know
I
what?
I
got
didn't see.
Questionable infringement from a Kanji, I think, on a
But
player in
they
midfield.
but it's City, right?
Yeah,
And
it's
City,
City.
where does City sit in the hierarchy
They're
of
the
the Big
highest.
Six? Yeah.
They're the
So
highest.
so if it if
Yeah.
it if it's City, it probably didn't happen. So they're gonna err on the side of it probably didn't happen. This probably wasn't an issue in the build up to that play. There wasn't a
Yeah.
there wasn't an infringement, as you said, on the runner in the box in the second half. So
We
those
have Sam here, the voice of reason as well. So
the
keep us
voice
in
of
line,
reason
Sam.
now. This dirty, scummy guy is supposed to be the voice of reason. Sorry, did I say that out loud? I was thinking it. Sorry, Sam. I usually keep those thoughts to myself.
Dirty, scummy guy.
Well, that's it. You get on here and then Gary just abuses me. I mean, what is this? I can't believe...
The voice of reason. He is. Um, Richarlison scores the first goal of the season, takes his shirt off, gets
He
carded,
scores, I suppose he scores once a year or something.
then swaps shirts with Fabinho.
Yeah.
This
There's
is former
levels.
Everton player.
So
There's
he
levels.
lost. They lost the game, and he swapped shirts.
Apparently, with
This
Fabinho,
is what I don't like. I
the
get.
ex-gunner.
I get the. I get that the players are more friendly now, but you got to be kidding me. They just got battered last week, right? Came
They
out
don't
this
care.
week.
Yeah.
Came out this week and actually had a really good comeback.
They
Lose
don't
it,
care anyway.
lose it on the last kick of the game, but they got enough thought to let's see. Can I get your jersey?
Mhm. And then
What?
again, we have Tottenham fans leaving after 20, 25 minutes, leaving the stadium. They
Yeah,
track
well,
all the way up there, Sam.
it's a long trip to Liverpool, isn't it? So, if you're 3-0 down after 15 minutes, I understand them very well.
Longer than Newcastle as well.
Yeah, so it's like,
I'm not leaving. I'm gonna drink. I'm gonna forget. I'm gonna
Drown your
drink away my
sorrows.
sorrows while I watch this game.
get on the
Like
motorway before everyone else, or I'll get on the train, get an early train before everyone else. No, that's it, go home.
see, I cannot. I guess I don't understand that. I can't get my head around like going to a
Hey,
match and thinking I'm just gonna leave it just because it didn't go my way for the first 20 minutes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Especially with this team. This
Well,
this this team
yeah.
they only show up usually when they're in the second half anyways.
And also, you're spending so much money on that trip. I mean, the ticket,
Yeah.
getting there and back. I mean, it's,
Time.
yeah, you
Your
want to
whole
get your money's worth.
Your whole Sunday is gone. You're using your whole Sunday for that.
Yeah,
when
might as
you're
well
back
just
to
stay
work.
there and just, take the torture.
This
Yeah.
this is what the fandom's all about. It's about the highs and the lows. You can't. I don't think you can really enjoy
Always
the high.
Spurs, it's about the
You can
lows and the lows.
no, yeah, but you can't enjoy the highs if you never experience the lows because there's nothing really to build on. All right.
Well, it's with Spurs, it's the lows and then the even lowers.
Yeah, I don't know why you would be, why you would think of becoming a Spurs fan unless, it's hereditary from
Yeah.
passed down from one generation to the next.
When they went 3-0 down today, and I watched the start of that part of the game, and I was like, they are absolutely shocking. I mean, you could just see they just didn't want to play football at that part of the game. It was like they just didn't care.
Yeah.
It was
How
absolutely
and
incredible.
how if you're Harry Kane, how can you let anybody do that to you on the pitch? Your teammates. How can you let them do that to you? You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
Hmm.
Like, no, think about it. Why would one? Why? No, he's supposed to be this, you know, bigger than life player. He's gonna, top scorer in England at some point in the
Yeah.
future, right? But yet he can't. Either one, he doesn't show them how it's done, or two, he doesn't say, "Come along and I'll get you there." What something,
Yeah.
right? Something he's like, and how
Why
how
are they
do
criticising
you,
him?
huh?
I'm saying the media don't seem to be criticising Kane, do they?
Yeah,
Him as a captain or a talisman or a leader. You know, they're in terrible form. They've been rubbish for weeks and weeks, and no one's criticising Kane as a captain, at all, are they? Which
no,
shows you
no.
how much the media loves Tottenham always.
Russ said no winning four. Where's our next winning coming from? It's
Oh,
got to be
hopefully
on
we'll beat
Tuesday
Chelsea
night.
on
It's got to be
Tuesday,
the next
hopefully.
one,
But
man. It's got to. No matter what happens, it's got to be the next one,
It's
whatever
always the
that game
most
is.
important. Always the most important one. Assembled. Do you think Arteta's experiences as a player and manager against Liverpool and his admiration for Guardiola has anything to do with the way Arsenal play against Liverpool and City? I
no,
I think there's he's given the team too much love in a way.
yeah, it's not. It's not. It's just too much respect. But I don't think it's through him like saying, "Oh, well, I've got to pay them respect." It's because he just made the wrong decision tactically again.
Mm-hmm.
About it, how many times is again gonna? How many times is it gonna be? There's got to be a bigger problem than again and again and again.
No, the problem sits with him, Gary. It's with him.
Mm-hmm.
No, but
Favorites.
I know. But I think the question is asking is it because the fact that he worked there, the fact that he admires this man, that he just doesn't do what he usually does in most matches in terms of preparing his team for it. Because we come out,
Well,
look, think about when we came out and they scored a header in the first minute, and
he
Guardiola
prepares.
basically
He
turned off
prepares the
he
team.
turned off the hounds at that point and said, "Look, Arsenal's not going to. We didn't do anything in that game for 95 minutes. It
I'm
seemed."
talking about the Raheem Sterling
Yeah,
game.
and
The
and
player is the right. The players have to take their part of it for making individual errors and switching off. That's not Arteta. That is the players. And yes, it is Arteta you can also blame Arteta for that, for choosing some of these players who have been switched off for a while. There's players who've been out of form who shouldn't really be playing or starting. To be honest, we should be seeing other players in their place. So that you have to put on Arteta as well. That's right.
There's
And
a few.
in terms of preparation, tactical decisions, and everything, it's up to Arteta to make sure we play the right way against them. And we've done it before. We've played the right way against them before by sitting deep and counter-attacking. We beat them. But I just don't understand why we don't do that again when that is the method that works. That's what I don't understand.
Yep. Yep. He's gotten caught in between trying to be progressive in every game, even
Yeah.
away from home. And being progressive at the Etihad was a recipe for not success, disaster. You
Yeah.
need to be a little bit more pragmatic. We saw Granit Xhaka and Erdegaard ahead of Kevin De Bruyne for the first goal, right? And Partey's something's wrong with Partey. I think he's carrying an injury. He's got to be.
Yeah, there's an injury and he's been out of form, but I saw Russell Morgan's having a bit of a laugh there, saying he's only four poor performances. There's a lot more than that. There's a lot more than that. It's like I was talking to Gary yesterday on his show. I said, and I'll ask you the same, Ray. I'll ask the same question I asked Gary. Truthfully, how many more times have you seen Partey play a poor game or a mediocre game more than he's played a good game? And roughly, how
50-50.
many games would you say that Partey's played a really good game. Like that's what we bought him for. That's the guy we wanted from Atletico Madrid. That's the monster we wanted. How many games can you say we've actually seen that? I said a handful. Gary agreed about a handful of games. What do you say?
Probably about 10.
Yeah.
Probably
So
about 10 this season.
have we got what we wanted? For me, no, we haven't. We've got not what we wanted from him. So
there are times where we've given him man in the match. There are times where he puts in a 5 out of 10, and we have the players up front who can score goals. And we're looking at Saka, we're looking at Martinelli or an Odegaard.
Yeah.
We're looking at
it's hard to it's when we are playing so well and he gets he disappears into that, and we don't even discuss him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those are the games when you're like that, I think whenever you see a big game for City, De Bruyne has something to do with that, and there's always something where you say, look, De Bruyne had a play in that, right? They beat us. De Bruyne is all over the place, right?
Yeah.
How often do you go, they destroyed a team and De Bruyne had nothing to do with it? You barely say that. I think in more than not, he's involved in that in that success of the team. Whereas for Partey, sometimes we don't even bring it up. Sometimes it's by design. But when he's having a good day, he's having a good day, right?
If you're going to go like for like, you probably have to say Rodri versus Partey, in that sense, because they are defensive midfielders, right?
Yeah.
Well, you do see Rodri putting himself about and being that.
Rodri's much more effective, isn't he, with what he's doing?
And we're pissed off at Rodri more. Why, right? Because
he's influencing play as well, Rodri, so much more, which is impressive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we're going to have a little bit of a ramble today. We're down memory lane, or what we're going to do this summer. Ray, who's to say Arteta would go out and get the right players for the team? He's proven that more than 50% of his signings have flopped. I would say probably we've had more 3 quarters good and 1 quarter bad.
I agree.
I would tip the balance a little bit more in terms of.
You know what? Okay, so you say that. So I no, I pulled it out of there's a somebody had pulled out a list of all the players that we brought in and said, here are the hits and misses on the players that we had, and it's pretty much equal. It's pretty much close to 50%. Marie, Cedric, William, Runison, Tavage, Lakonga, Ceballos. I actually like Matt Ryan, so I think they had him as an X, not. I actually thought he did exactly what we wanted from a backup.
Yeah, I like Ryan.
I would have kept him. That's how good I thought he was. Vieira, Jorginho, which I don't. Jorginho, I don't see that. Kirior, Marquinhos, and Turner.
I haven't seen enough.
So that's. But then on the good side, right? You've got Erdegaard, Partey, Gabriel, White, Ramsdale, Tomiyasu, Jesus, Zinchenko, Trossard. I think Jorginho's done his job, but it's close to 50%. The players that we brought in that have hit or miss in terms of where they like right now.
If we look in the last 2 years, you eliminated a lot of the bad stuff and you retain a lot of the good stuff in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
But I don't think any of us were saying. I know I wasn't saying that Marie and Cedric were good additions to the squad.
No.
Well, to keep them on, and also
Cedric was so short term. That was short term.
Yeah, but he's still with us now. So
I know, but the idea of getting him in was just to plug a hole. That's what it was.
But he doesn't. I don't even think he plugs the hole enough, anyways. But
no, Gary, that's the way it shaped out, wasn't it? But I'm saying the reason he was brought in was just he wasn't brought in as a long-term solution. No. He was just brought in to plug a hole.
Okay, the Assemble has refined his point in saying, I'm not blaming Arteta, but he seems to be overcautious against them. That's my point. The players seem scared to relax. I don't think he's been overcautious against big teams. He's actually tried to go toe-to-toe with Man City at the Etihad.
I'll be back, guys. I just got to go away for a few minutes.
Yeah. Okay, thanks, Sam. And maybe toe-to-toe at Anfield and maybe toe-to-toe at Manchester United.
Yeah, I mean, and you have to know your squad enough to know what they have to do to win a game, and can they do exactly that? And if they can't, you adjust to it and put them in.
Put
you
him in
have
the
to
right
put your
position.
team in a position to
Yeah,
succeed, right?
yeah,
And if you
exactly.
don't do that, then it looks like it has in a couple of games, right? Like you said, Liverpool basically every time we went in there, we messed around and got destroyed, right? When we like the last game isn't
Last
a,
few years, yeah.
yeah, but like we play against them, and your style doesn't work against every team, so you have to adjust, right?
Hmm.
We don't ever do that. Like we never go, you know what? Like this team could be the best team against a back four, and we're still gonna play it, knowing that in the like for example, you're playing Newcastle, their defense is really good. You really have to play a solid game. If you have to be on, playing perfectly a certain way, or else they will make you pay, right? And if you know you've got holes, you got to fix them. You can't just continue to let them sit there and become a problem.
Hmm.
And we do that sometimes.
And look, Russ said even Spurs beat City with 10 men this season, but Spurs play a different style with a counter attack,
Yeah.
and they haven't adjusted the way they've played throughout the season. But I think Arteta's going to be in a position, if he wasn't in a position this season, to be able to choose your tactics. We need to be able to do that, Gary.
Choose
I
our
don't.
what?
What's that?
You said choose our what?
Choose our tactics. We have to be able to be in a position. I think we are in a position where we are able to choose our tactics. We could have played a counter-attacking game against City
Yep.
on
Yeah,
Wednesday.
I keep
We
hearing that
chose.
because we don't do certain things, we won't change it. And I'm just like, but you have to change for the moment. Like for example, if like you don't plan to go down to 10 men, but when you do, you adjust, right? That's not something you sit there and go, all right, well, if we're going to play for 10 men, is what we're going to do. A lot of times you don't plan for it. This happens, and then you just adjust. And that's the thing that I think Arteta's not doing. When he first got here, he looked at his team and said, you know what, this is going to be the best way for them to succeed, and he just played his style, three at the back, and went with it, right? Like no team plays the same way for everyone. Even City, they will adjust in the way that they play or the players they bring in and stuff like that. And before we go, I want to say, like you said, so Rush joined us. The Assembles in the house. Alex from Cannon Fodder
Abe,
is here. Cheddar is there. Taib has joined us. Welcome to the show.
welcome, guys. Craig said, "You see, when City don't have the ball, their pressing is top notch, and that's down to Pep, who has drilled them into that team. You know, they have a very clearly defined way of playing." Alex said, "Can you honestly say Saliba's absence has been Arsenal's Achilles heel? When you look at the gulf in quality behind Saliba, you can maybe make the case that Saliba was. Um, I don't think Rob Holding in himself
So you
was
can't you
the
can't it can't
cause.
be one or the others. You can't
Well,
say both in the
yeah,
same sentence.
I
That's
can.
what you're doing right
No,
there.
I
I
can.
I, I don't think you can. You can't say, all right, Saliba isn't the problem. Holding isn't the problem either, or whatever you said. It didn't sound right to what you said.
Let me build my case, right? Let me build my case. So listen, the Etihad, we knew that would be difficult. I argued for a double pivot there. I wanted Jorginho in there with Partey
Yeah.
to give protection. But that aside, Gary, I think we've seen Gabriel Magalhaes play outside of himself because
Yep.
Saliba's not there.
Yep.
So you
Yeah.
know you have Rob Holding alongside you,
Yep.
and you're almost thinking, he's not as good as your regular partner
Yep.
throughout the season. So we've seen him at West Ham make some mistakes. I think he made a mistake at Anfield as well, and definitely made a mistake at Southampton. But again, not helped by Zinchenko playing in that left back position, wandering into midfield. We got caught out
Yep.
for that second goal at Southampton. So yeah, I do believe Saliba not being there reduces the amount of calm that was in the team, and Gabriel Magalhaes has really missed him at the back. Rob Holding is that physical player who's going to go with his forward. And did he need to go into midfield with Holland at the Etihad for that first goal? You know what I mean?
I I
So
I, I
that's my
just
case with Saliba. We've
yeah.
missed him. I think we missed his calmness more than anything else.
Yeah. No, I feel like players get injured. So if you're telling me that no matter what, if a player goes down, we will not adjust to that situation. And so we're gonna make it known that guess what? That is an issue and that is the problem and not adjust to it. And that for me, that's why it's an Achilles heel because we made it one, right? We made it one because we said, you know what, the guy behind you has to do the exact same work that Saliba does, and that's not fair.
The
Because
other thing,
if you say Saliba's Achilles heel, that means we had no answers after that. I believe we did have answers. You just said
mm,
it, right? We could have gone with a double pivot, maybe to protect the
mhm,
back line a lot more and stuff like that. And we weren't playing. Our defense was porous as it was getting. It was going downhill anyways until Saliba was gone. So since the World Cup, it's been going down. So it isn't something where you were playing the same style. Defensively, we were that good prior to the World Cup. We weren't. We were actually, we were worse at that point. It's just now, I now is when I feel like we should be leaning on our strengths, right? We're not even doing that to some degree. Our strengths are in the attack, and so
mhm.
it's just highlighting how bad our defense is right now because we should have been able to score 3-4 goals in those three draws that we had to put those things away. We have the talent to do that. So I don't I kind of feel like using a Saliba absence is the reason why we're struggling, and we don't have. It's almost like we don't have any other answers, and I think that's false. I think we have
We
lots of
had
answers. We have lots of answers
options.
to how
Yeah.
to combat that player being down. And I said it before. I said like you just said. I said it when Saliba went down. Gabriel
Hmm.
cannot take it upon himself to answer all the questions on the back line.
Yeah.
Right? He
I,
has to one help Holding get across the line, not try to do everything because he can't. It's
I
just not.
think he's felt that, Gary. I think he's felt that responsibility
And
of
he,
trying to do 1.5 times his own work, half of Rob Holding's work for
mhm,
him. And also a little bit with Zinchenko. I wanted three at the back. I think Arteta should have been ruthless and dropped. You're not your players' friends. You are picking the best team possible to go there. You shouldn't be giving Rob Holding a game if you really
yeah,
believe.
yeah,
It's okay for Rob Holding to be taken out of the fire at
yeah,
Man City. Play Kieran Tierney to the left of Gabriel Magalhaes.
yeah,
Play White to the right of Gabriel Magalhaes. Three at the back. Maybe use a wing back. Zinchenko can be your wing back, you know,
yep,
and bring Trossard in. We've been talking about this for weeks now. We went 7 games winning with Trossard in the team. The minute he goes on the bench at Anfield, I think it started.
yep,
We didn't get over the line in those 4 games,
yep,
and we needed to get over the line in 3 of those games.
yep,
And the Etihad didn't have to be what feels like the death knell of our season right now,
yep,
and death knell being second place, which we don't want to be second. We want to be challenging
yep,
and making the best of our resources, as our Arteta said, means using those players,
yeah,
Mikel, in the right
yeah.
places.
And that's why when I hear people say, "Oh, it'll be different next year when the Champions League," I'm like, none, nothing that I've seen today will tell me that we
I
play in the Champions League things will be different.
I feel like he'll be forced to do that.
See, what
If
about
if
like
he,
today? What about today? We'll keep talking about this future that may never come, right? But what about today when he went to Anfield, looked at how that went then went to West Ham, looked at how that went, came home to Southampton and looked at how that went, and then said, guess what? We're fine. We don't need to change anything. We'll just do the same thing all over again. Are you kidding me? Like, we don't need to worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow, we're preparing for tomorrow right now, and right now we're not showing that we're there yet as a manager and the players. Because both, everybody has a part to play in this. Either we're not bringing in the players, we're not coaching them up, we're not putting them in good positions. The players aren't coming in ready to play. Everything about this is total system failure. Like, how often do we look at a game in the last number and went in that first half when things started to go crazy? Who stood out and tried to right the ship? I get like
Not
the
many.
raw and all of that, but who with their play actually said, "Look, this is how we're going to finish this thing off." Not too often did that happen,
No.
right?
Well, Sam was asking Ray, how would you defeat Arsenal? Then explain what you do to counteract it. It's all about the press. We don't look very good when we have a really, really good press against us from the best teams, Liverpool and City especially. And you need to bring players in who are press resistant and who can play through that press and have the courage to do that. But also, you got to make the right choices. Gabriel Magalhaes, I'm going to go back to February when he was pressed against City. He could have gone back to the goalkeeper. He tried to play a risky pass. And I think also our emotions are a little bit get the better of us at time. We need to be more cold and calculating and making the right decisions on the field. I'd like to think that's going to come with maturity, Gary.
Yes, but then we're turning around and going, then but we have some older players who should be able to show these players also how to be to be the mature ones in this game, and we're not getting that either from the players that should have the experience. I mean, that's one of the things we said about Holding, is that he brings that to us. He gives us that experience in playing in the Premier League. Uh, that's what also we're supposed to be getting from, I think, like from Aparte. He's played in the Champions League. You should know how to play against, in these tough games against some of the top Premier League teams that he's played against in the past. So you should be able to build up on that, and we can't. We don't, and it's a struggle.
If Saliba was the injury that maybe is the Achilles heel, the
Mm,
next worst thing would have been Tomiyasu, right? Because we could have maybe overcome the Saliba injury with Ben White as a central defender and Tomiyasu as your right
yep,
back.
yep,
You know,
yeah,
those two injuries together didn't come out.
yeah. I mean, you can look back. We can look back now and play Monday morning, Tuesday morning quarterback, and say, depending on, like I always said, depending on Ben White to have to be able to back up both the right back and the right center back positions is too much. I think we need to make sure we have answers there. So we use that in a pinch, but it's not actually our game plan. You know what I mean? Like, it can work, but like Tomiyasu, you can play in those same positions, but most teams have more than one player to back up the positions on the pitch. We don't, right? We don't either have a right back who's only a right back, or a right center back who's only a right center back in terms of how they support the team when they come off the bench. We don't have that, right? We see that with Jorginho. Jorginho could back up the spot, back up Xhaka's spot if that's where he's going to play. Trossard could back up any of the three spots, but it'd be nice. Like, we've got Trossard, we've got Emil Smith-Rowe, who amazingly is healthy now. Reece Nelson, right? So we've got answers on the front three now. We
Mm-hmm.
we believe we have a Tierney that can offer us something different on the left back, but we never see it. Um, so we have some answers behind. We don't have an answer behind Partey, right?
No,
We
and
don't have an answer.
midfield we all know is one of those areas that's got to
Yeah,
be addressed as well in the
yeah. And
summer.
we don't have a true answer behind Erdogan, right?
No, I mean Will Smith Rowe could play there.
He could, but he doesn't even.
Vieira,
He's barely allowed to play in
Fabio,
the game.
Fabio Vieira could
No,
play
no.
there.
See, the fact that you cannot bring that name up, that is not a legit backup behind Erdogan at this point.
No, it's not.
So,
It's not.
we
It's not
don't have an
lifelike.
answer behind. Yeah, he's not a good answer right now. He might be good in the future, and that's what I always said. I don't like projects, right? And this is the reason why. It's because it sounded like a good idea to bring Fabio Vieira in because it's going to work out. It hasn't, and he was playing behind what, Diaz, is that right? He was playing behind him when Diaz left to go to
Playing with him, I think he
Was
might
he
have
playing
been
with him? Okay.
feeding him. Yeah, feeding
All
him
right.
from that left side.
Okay. All
Um,
right.
Sam said listening, watching a few podcasters' agendas about Arsenal. We seem to be everyone's favorite to fail, and I
Mm,
think we have a little bit of stink on us still, Gary, from previous years. That we do
yeah.
seem to bottle it in the league.
Yeah.
And there's many examples of it, I guess. So since we've been out of the Champions League, there's been many examples of it. The Europa League under Unai Emery, even really bad away from home in the last final years of Arsene Wenger. And now, it never seems to be enough. Mikel Arteta fails in the top four bid last season, and we don't get there.
Yeah.
So far, it looks like we're not going to get there against the champions, Manchester City. But I would say, there's levels to this. We're getting closer and closer, but the building has to be improved upon. And Cannon fodder, Alex here, and he assembled his warning. Be careful, Alex. You're giving an opinion. Opinions are allowed. Assembled. We gained 1 point versus Liverpool. We should have lost versus West Ham, and we dropped 2 points versus Southampton. This is down to Arteta. I believe so. I
So it's
believe
down there. If it was down to Arteta, then it's not a Saliba problem, then, right?
there were substitutions to be made, especially famously against Liverpool. In the final minutes, we're about to bring Kieran Tierney on, but you wait till the 87th minute to do that. West Ham missed a penalty with Bukayo Saka, but we really, and great players can miss penalties. I'm not putting all of this on Bukayo Saka. You have 30 minutes to go and win the game when you're 2-2. And dropping 2 points versus Southampton, we play for 15 minutes. We really put a game together 15 minutes from the end of that game when we're 3-1 down. Yeah, that was the proverbial banana skin right there. Ray Arteta does not view Holding as his friend. He picked him for the last 6-7 games. Xhaka and Partey losing their heads didn't look good. It is his insistence on using these underperformance and lack of depth. That's it. We have a lack of depth, but do you have to continually use Holding, who we know is probably like the fourth choice central defender, maybe fifth choice even? Uh, after this season, Kivior might even has to be going beyond his level. So I feel Granit Xhaka is in there. Zinchenko's become a friend of Arteta's, and Jesus as well. They always seem to find a way onto the team sheet. And we didn't hold Bukayo Saka back against himself when he had a few poor performances. I think next season Arteta's got to learn these things, and he's going to be forced to, mix his team up in the weekend after Champions League games as well. Anything to say, Gary, on that point?
I've been asking for a rotation now we're seeing what happens when you don't do it. When you don't do it, this is what you get. You get a team where Arteta cannot be confident in the players he has, or confident enough to know what he's going to get, and then go a different direction, right?
Yeah.
So the rotation is key to this thing, and the big teams, the good teams, they do that. They not only rotate, but then they make the substitutions before it becomes a problem, right?
Yeah. We cannot explain this when we assemble. Can I explain why Vieira is chosen in front of Emile Smith Rowe and Trossard, and who have more experience in pressure games? You maybe can make a case for Emile Smith Rowe being injured and working his way back. We don't know his level of fitness, and trying to integrate him back in to full fitness. But Fabio Vieira versus Trossard, there's got to be a spot where you can put Trossard in there for that Southampton game, especially. Stephen O'Toole is here. Ray, do you think we can challenge to the Forest game, given City did not have it that easy today? Yep, I think we can take it. The Forest game is the 20th of May, and it's our penultimate game, Gary. and City will play 3 games in that week. When we play Forest, City will play the next day against Chelsea. They will have to play Brighton away from home midweek and finish at Brentford away from home.
Yeah.
I think we can definitely take it till the 20th of May, 21st of May.
Yeah. Well, right now we need to win our next one for this to even be a question, right? That needs to be answered by City.
Mm-hmm.
Like we have to win, like you said, the next 3 games going into that Forest match to know whether or not we put any kind of pressure on them. Right now, not so much, right? If we go into Chelsea and we don't get the job done, then we'll be even further back, right? When they do make up, because they make up 1 game before that too, right? They make up a game before
They make
before we play Nottingham
um,
Forest, right?
well when we play Nottingham Forest, we'll have 2 games left, and they'll have 3 games left. So we'll almost have played a game more than them, I think.
No, but when do they make up that extra game? Is that this week?
They will play after we play after we beat Chelsea, right? And we go
Yeah.
2 points ahead again. They'll have 2 games in hand. They will make up on Saturday, Wednesday and Saturday. So
they do play. So they play this week. So
they
we'll
play
know.
this week.
Yeah. So So
with 2 home games.
West Ham at home. Will be at
and Leeds at home.
Yeah. So
Leeds.
so
Leeds.
so just before we get to Leeds right now, West
Yeah.
Ham is the only chance they have of losing this week, more than likely, based on what we're seeing from the teams, the way they're playing at this point.
Leeds are going to have to fight tooth and nail for that one. Relegation is hanging its head over Leeds, but we do hope that it won't happen to them and Mr. Tom. And I don't imagine he enjoys football this weekend at all.
No, he's definitely not enjoying that. And yeah, the fact that you even bring up that against City they have to do something, I think is like far from anybody's thoughts that they might be able to get anything out of that game.
Next Saturday, that could be a good one. Next Saturday, Gary, for the trip.
You try to
road trip.
You try to build that up. I'll be happy if he even shows up. Let's just say that. I'll be happy if he shows up.
Evening, Gary, Ray, and whoever that is behind the camera down below. I'm guessing it's excellent intuition, really. Who else can Arteta use in that centre back position? Kivior is not ready for the last 5 Premier League. I'm not against, as I said, going 3 at the back. Use your best defenders that you have available. Kieran Tierney, Gabriel Magalhaes, and Ben White. Yes, it's 3 at the back, but why can't you use Zinchenko as that left back who's going to go inverted? You're just sliding Gabriel Magalhaes into Rob Holding's place for me. That's 3 trophyless seasons for us now.
Why is 3 at the back the only option? Why can't we put?
Well, it's 4 at the back. We're just playing the way we always have played this season.
No, but I'm just saying, why can't why can't we just put Saka on the playing, have him play right back?
We can do that. You're probably in the minority thinking that way.
I definitely in the minority, but anything we do is going to be against the norm. It's against what we've bent the trend, against what Arteta's done. But keep having Saka play back there just means now you have all of your best players out there, and I get the issue behind that in regards to the bench.
And again, I'm not against Trossard playing on the right in Saka's place, because you're getting a quality player on the field in Leandro Trossard. And yes, Saka can fit in anywhere as well. 3 trophyless seasons. It's got to be addressed. We got to start being competitive in the cups. If we can't win, we got to be competitive in the league enough where we can punch our ticket to the Champions League for the next few years. But we've also got to be in position where we can take advantage of City not being in a competition like the FA Cup, the League Cup, or even in the Champions League. If we meet City in the Champions League, we've got to try and overcome them in one-off games.
Well, you have to be able to have a plan to play with all your players. We don't do that. So unless we buy clones of everybody we have in our starting 11 right now. It doesn't seem like it's going to work unless we adhere to the way that the players, whatever's the best for the players. So for me, that's where it's got to start. It's not necessarily that all of a sudden now we're going to play differently because we're in Champions League. We have to be playing to win every game we put out, every time we go out there on the pitch. And
and make.
sometimes it's going to look different, and
Mhm.
sometimes it has to look different.
Yep. And see, we got to see how games like City did at Fulham. You win games 2-1,
Hmm.
but you move on with a win, even if you're playing what we're going to call lesser quality players in our team. You know, you've got 9 good players and 2 that are squad players. We still need to get points. Alex said, I think Holding gets given a hard time by his supporters. Truth be told, Saliba and Holding are 2 different types of defenders. Holding is a squad player. And as squad players, we have to raise the level of our squad players past Holding, in
Yeah,
my opinion.
yeah. No,
You
I
know?
mean it's not necessarily a similar thing, but it's one of those things where it's the loyalty that Arteta has to his players, no matter what. Like Holding doesn't offer you what you want, but you continue to play him the same way. So then we look bad. So then we say it's not his problem because he's not doing bad. Everybody else looks bad. What if they all have to cater to the way that when he's on the pitch because he makes certain plays that Saliba doesn't. When that happens, he puts the team in even more pressure because he doesn't either make that forward pass or he doesn't make the pass in time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we get punished for it, and then it's not his fault, right? But he does contribute to the way that teams are able to maybe put a little bit more pressure on us because he doesn't make that play, right? So sometimes it's not. It may be a pass before the pass where, like the in the West Ham match, he had an open person earlier in that possession, and he didn't do it. So now all he did is allow the defense to put a little bit more pressure on us, and that's how Partey ended up getting, taking his eye off the defender and being a little bit not secure with the ball and losing it. But we don't talk about that because that wasn't that didn't lead to it. But earlier in the play, if he makes that pass earlier, Partey's got a lot more space to deal with and can turn upfield. And we don't, so that's what you see. So you just see the aftermath of what could happen if your players don't play the same way. He will hold on to the ball a little bit more, which means the defense puts more pressure on us, and then where we usually have enough time to make a change, we don't anymore. So I kind of feel like he doesn't help us positively, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Negatively, not as much. You don't see it, but it puts pressure on everybody else. So for me, that's what I see.
Yep. I don't think there's anything defensive in playing 3 at the back as well. There's a perception you play 3 at the back, you're going more defensive. If anything, I think you're freeing up a solid player to go forward and help you. White use 3-man defense and wingback Saka or Trossard have the nous to do it, Alex. So these are intelligent players. We're talking about Saka and Trossard, probably the 2 most intelligent players in our team, you know, in
Yeah.
terms of being able to do what the coach is asking them to do, the manager's asking them to do. Running out of steam at the end of the season cannot keep happening every year. A managerial change must be considered if this happens next year. I'm this would go against as well because running out of steam at the end of the season versus Tottenham is completely different to running out of steam at the end of the season versus Man City.
Yeah, but you're looking at the Man City game, but we're talking about the 3 games before that. That had
Mhm.
nothing to do with. We could have won all 3 of those games with the players that we had in this squad, and that was mismanaged. I mean, I think we all would say
Great.
those games were mismanaged by the manager, right? Because the first thing we're going to say is we needed to probably make some substitutions sooner than later. We needed to maybe not. You needed to maybe start Trossard in the game, you
Yeah.
know. Before,
Yeah.
so the city game is basically just like the icing on the top of this poor situation we're in. But it isn't like the 3 games. The Southampton game, for example, is the worst case of mismanagement at the end of the season. The game before that, similarly, and the game before that, similarly as well. The game's starting to get out of hand. We still don't make any changes, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't put any, so those are all on the manager. The city match, I'm not going to say necessarily is on
Well,
Arteta in the sense that I'm not going to use that one as the one to say, you know what, that's why he needs to go. He definitely did not manage to set the team up for success.
I'm here but I'm here also to say recognize Arteta made mistakes in the lineups, made mistakes in substitutions, but individual players also made individual mistakes on the field. We
But
can't
then
account for
but
Ramsdale doing
you know
what
what? And
Ramsdale did.
those three, whatever we did negatively, any individual errors we did in all three of those games could have been rectified with a change by the manager sooner than later.
Not, but
All of them, could have.
Ramsdale in the
No,
first
no,
minute.
yes, but what I'm saying is Vieira wasn't helping us at all in that game.
Correct.
So Trossard could have come in midway through the first half, could have come in at halftime.
Yep.
To change things up.
Yep.
And that's what I'm looking at. So yes, we had some players make some mistakes. We showed that we can't. We actually came back from all of those. But why not just go through and try to get the win? Because that's what we needed. We needed a win. We didn't need to draw. Draws were bad in any one of those three games. We're lucky to get draws in two of them. You saw Alex say that. We're lucky we got the draw against City because of Ramsdale, right? Because of Ramsdale, we got the draw against Liverpool. Liverpool, right?
Yep.
So
because of Ramsdale,
so he made mistakes, but he also has redeemed himself to some degree. At some point, we want him to be on the positives end of those actions that the performances that he's doing that. So so we're in the green a lot more as opposed to just 50-50 on good and bad plays.
Yeah.
So
we're a lot of gray this month. We're not green. We're not red. Just one red, right? Which feels like we've actually just sort of lost 2 games when you think about it. We've only got 3 points from 4. We actually lost 3 games when you think about the points dropped. And as Reddy said, Ray, we lost the league against West Ham and Saints, not City. Fully agree with that, Reddy. Yeah. And I said that earlier in this podcast as well. And this is the dichotomy, making tactical changes. We want to see these changes during the game, not after the fact. Arteta at least needs to learn. Yeah. He needs to bring in better players.
No. 2
things can be the same.
No, when you say better players, do you mean by the transfer or do you mean during the game?
Both things.
But you have Trossard and you have Jorginho.
Yes. We need to bring in
in the middle.
But we need to bring in better players in the summer as well.
Why does that matter if you can't even bring the ones you have now? You've got only 2 good players off the bench that we know will get the job done.
We're not beating City. We're not beating City with Granit Xhaka.
You're talking about one game. We're talking about the last 4.
Yes.
The last 4.
I am also talking about the last 4.
Trossard and Jorginho could have made a difference in any one of those first 3 draws that we had. We never put them in early enough to make a difference in the game.
I've acknowledged that. I agree with you.
So then you bring up City, but City, there's nothing about that City game that even Trossard and Jorginho would have helped based on the way that we were playing as a team.
We need to go and get a player like Declan Rice, who can roll his sleeves up in a game like that and fight Rodri and fight against Kevin De Bruyne. We need players like this in midfield. Partey looks spent, Gary. And I'm not one that's going to get rid of Partey this summer because maybe he's been overused as well. Maybe Gabriel Magalhaes has been overused. Maybe Saliba has been overused.
Okay, if you say that, then based on that, then he's not going to work for us.
Who?
Partey. If you're saying that he's been overused.
Well, he'll have a lot of rest over the summer, a new season.
No, think about what you just said. Mm-hmm. If based on where we are today, we got knocked out of the EFL, we got knocked out of the FA Cup, we got knocked out of the the Europa League. We're only playing 1 game a week now, and he looks worse now. So next year when we're playing in Europe, we won't be playing whoever we play Zurich. We won't be playing the teams that we played, PSV,
Yeah,
right? We won't
I
be
agree.
playing
Yeah.
Bodo Glimt, right? Think about it. We played those are three of the teams that we played, right? We're not
Yeah.
playing those teams, right? We could be
No.
playing a Napoli, for example. What he's going to have to play 90 minutes in that game for us to win, based on where we are today with their squad,
Yep. Yep.
right? So
But
we're preparing for what the plan is. The plan is we're gonna finish higher up the table, get Champions League, and have to play against these big teams, right?
Right, Granit Xhaka wasn't why we got humped by Man City. Shambolic statement. He certainly didn't help. For me, I don't know what you were looking at, Russ, but I didn't see Granit Xhaka out there helping.
There was not
last
one
Wednesday.
player that stood out in that City match where you went. Guess what? He was the one
Ramsdale,
trying to
maybe.
dragging us across this get us through this game. Not one
Well,
player stood out enough to go. You know what? Follow his lead.
Only two players. Ben White and Aaron Ramsdale were the only two players.
Yeah, not enough, right?
Not enough.
Russ has learned a new word this week called shambolic.
Did he use it yesterday?
Yeah, he used it yesterday as well. Shambolic. He said I was
that's one of those. Your word of the week is shambolic.
Yeah, he's been watching Sesame Street, isn't he? This week's word is shambolic.
Shambolic. Use that in your Scrabble crossword. I don't want to see Saka play on Tuesday. I don't want to see Xhaka or even Partey.
No, true.
Trossard has to start. So no matter, until Trossard starts, it won't really matter what we do. If he doesn't start, then it's Arteta. It's not players. Don't tell me the players that were on the pitch. If you think about this, right? The man won Player of the March, 7 assists since he's joined us, and can't get a start, right? And now we just went and had this terrible game, and they say he doesn't start again. What does that say to the other players? Any player looking at Arsenal?
In those 7 games, Gary, and the 7 wins we had were, against Aston Villa, against Fulham, against Everton, Leicester, Leeds. We scored 23 goals in 7 games with Trossard in the slide, and we conceded like maybe 4 or 5, and we conceded 11 goals in 4 games since. It's.
I think Russ still wants Pepe to play for us. He needs more time. So we need to bring Pepe back. He's going to be our saviour. He's going to score 50 goals a season, and he's going to save everything for us.
Craig's got some breaking news. Graham soon has to leave Sky Sports after being a pundit for over a decade. I did catch some comments he was making about Harry Kane. I don't know if there's a link between.
I can't criticize the golden boy.
Yeah. And he freely admits he's from the older days. He's a player of the older days, so he freely admits maybe he's not the right fit. But
he's much more direct, isn't he? A bit like
Keane.
Roy Keane. He's very direct as well.
I did see in the same clip though, Robbie Keane, former Spurs player, about to jump to the defense of Harry Kane. Shout out to everyone from Mahir here. Shout out to you, Mahir.
You got Mahir. Nice to see you, buddy. Well, see your name anyway.
A point at Anfield's never a bad result. We could have lost that as well, but no excuse for the next 2 draws. Definitely. We threw it away against West Ham and we threw it away against Southampton for me. I would even say Liverpool, says Mahir. So, Sam, what would you do? Would you be prepared to mix it up a little bit? Like Alex said, don't start Saka on Tuesday. Don't start Granit Xhaka.
I think we just have to recognize that certain players are not giving us what we want at this time. They're out of form. Doesn't mean they're bad. It's just form goes up and down with players. Hopefully you want them to keep form, keep playing well for as long as possible. But they're human beings. So at some point, they're going to be a bit off the boil. I think Zinchenko at the moment is off the boil. Partey, I think, is nursing an injury. He hasn't played well for a while now. He shouldn't be playing. And I think Saka as well. I think Saka needs to rest a bit as well. He looked very jaded in that last game. So yeah, for me, there's good alternatives. I think we can play Jorginho, who's shown he is a competent substitute for Partey. I think we can use him. I think we can use Trossard either as a substitute for Xhaka. He can play well in that role. I think he can also be a substitute for Saka, playing in the front line. But if you want to use Trossard in the front line for Saka, then you can bring in someone else, maybe give Smith Rowe a chance in that role, because Smith Rowe needs minutes. He hasn't been playing. So I think, we need to. Gary says something quite often that I agree with, and it's like, when is Arteta going to start trusting the people who need to be playing? You got to trust these guys who are supposed to come on and and do a good job when the first 11 are not able to play, or you need to change things around. So we got to trust these guys. Smith Rowe, we know, is a good player. Yeah, he's been out of form. He's had his injury problems. But if he's not going to play, we're not going to get him back into form. So when Xhaka, hasn't been great lately as well. You give him a chance, right? You give him a chance, and like I said, Jorginho can play, Trossard can play. You can give these guys from our first 11 a rest, and they need it. They need it because right now these guys are not performing. And if we go out there, that's what I'm worried about. If we go out there and play that same 11 again against Chelsea, we're going to struggle.
Yeah. My worry about Arteta is he wants to give the same players who failed you another chance to make it right on the field. And that's wrong.
Exactly, but I can understand you do that maybe after one game. You go, okay, you had a bad game, let's give you another chance. But when it's like 4 games in a row now, when they're obviously out of form, at some point you go, okay, sit out for a game or two. Let's give you a rest, and then you can come back and see how you do.
Yeah.
Not only that, but if you have it set up in the way that you manage your squad, that you're going to rotate your players, they probably, hopefully, won't have these dips in form, because during those times when they're about to maybe go down in form, they might be taking a break anyways, right? And so they take the break like they usually would. Maybe they come in for 30 minutes at the end of the game to see it out or whatever. But they don't really, the pressure on them to start this thing and play for 90 isn't there anymore. They know they're going to come in maybe at halftime if needed at the earliest, right? So that's what you build. And then you see it from I think you see it like early in the season, KDB was sitting because his form wasn't good. Yep. Did anybody look at that and say, "Oh, that's an issue"? No, that's just the way that some squads will do it. If you're not playing well, they will sit you for a while, and let you work it out either on the practice field or mentally in your mind as you see what's going on the pitch. So all these things help.
We did look at City stumbling with results here and there. We thought that we're going to steal a march and then it would stay that way through the whole of the season. Hasn't turned out that way, and I think we need to arm ourselves with that experience next season to still be cautious.
What we've got to do is we've got to make sure we have a squad that's where the level is very close between the guys who are maybe not going to be starting most of the games, the guys who might have to take second spot. They're going to have a level that's very close, if not the same, because that's what City is so good at. They've got that incredible depth in their squad, where Pep Guardiola, he rotates by design. Yes, De Bruyne was a bit out of form, so he sat like 3 or 4 games out, I think, in a row, something like that. He didn't play for like 3 or 4 games. But they've got such a good team where you didn't really have to worry about that. Even he's Kevin De Bruyne, but it's like we've got players like Foden, Jack Grealish, we've got Gundogan, we've got all these other guys who can create goals. You don't have to worry that much about it. Alvarez comes on. So it's not quite the issue for them as it is for us, but we need to get close to that. We need to be able to, we need to be able, okay, it's no problem we sit Jesus. It's no problem we sit Saka. It's no problem we sit Martinelli. It's no problem Partey get to sit this one out. We need to be at that level because that's what City do. And with their rotation, as I said, by design, by Guardiola, it keeps them fresh. And it's why they're in form now. They've been building form and gelling as a team with Haaland and everything.
Yeah.
That's why they're fresh now and in form now, and we're not, because we haven't been able to rotate what we should have. So we are well behind them in that area.
I mean, if you think about it, Arteta did some things early in the season that were like, oh, damn, it actually worked. All right.
Yeah.
Tomiyasu coming in and playing left back against Liverpool. Right?
Yeah.
None of us saw that, but he knows his
For
team,
Salah.
right? And and Salah didn't have a good day that day, right?
Yep.
And we've seen now. I don't think we ever thought we would have saw it, but we saw that Nketiah can give us a couple of games, right up top. I don't think he can give us a month, but I think he can give us a couple of games, right? Where he'll get us the games that he needs, and we won't lose too much up top there, right? Because he did show up and play, but the consistency isn't there for him to go and do that for a whole month or 2 months or whatever it takes for us, for us to be able to miss Jesus for that long period of time. Because at the end of that streak, right, we're sitting there. I think we're all saying, all right, it's time to just let's Nketiah's not doing for us as much because he's taken away from what we want to do in the attack. So. Yeah, no, there are things that Arteta has done, and there's things that we've seen that we know we have some answers if we need to, but we never see it enough, and we just sit there and just go through this streak and try to, it'll be okay. He'll fight through this bad form. And it's like, no, you don't have to. That's why you have a squad. You have a squad for that exact reason, right? Not until they break down and get injured, all right? I mean, we're lucky that not necessarily lucky, but it could have been either Saliba or Margulies getting injured because Margulies never rested. Right? He never. I don't think he's got probably the most minutes. I think
we'll have to check with Colney on that one.
But I don't. He played in the Europa League, right?
Yeah.
Right. He played in the Europa League in the early stages, and in the late stages he didn't play. Right. I think it was Saliba and Holding. So make that one up, right? So when you finally make it through and you're going into the knockout round, then you go and you just switch it up anyways. So then you're not necessarily being able to play with your strong center back pairing. Maybe
I think
out differently in that game, right? We needed to win one of those two, and we just set up to play the same way both times. Sometimes the situation changes, and you make a decision to put your stronger team out there, right? I mean. I think the way we play doesn't help the squad as a whole because we always, in the cup games, never give ourselves a chance. And it's hard to come back from those losses sometimes mentally over time. All right? Because it's always like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Winning begets winning is what
winning begets winning. Winning habits beget winning habits. And I think this squad has had a taste of what it's like at the top level now with this run in. And hopefully they can process all of this. I'm talking like it's over. It probably is over. I don't expect City to win every game like I think Riddy said. But, man, if they win the next 5 or 6 games, that would be 14 games in a row or something like that. And that's pretty hard to live with against City. The squad came up short on the business end through a lack of experience. It's all learning and growing from here. So we need to learn from those experiences, bring in quality players in midfield, in my opinion, a center back to cover for Saliba and a striker. I think Gabriel Jesus needs to play on the wing. Trossard can't be relied upon to be our false 9. We need a focal point up front as well in the summertime. And I would be okay with it being Balogun coming back, but maybe if it isn't, we sell Balogun, we get a prime player in. Sam, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I want to sell Balogun. I want to get money for him.
All right, then we use that money to bring in a striker?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sell Nketiah and sell Balogun and bring in a top striker. That's what I want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't Balogun can't be in a situation like Nketiah was, where he gets only Europa League games. If he's coming back, it doesn't make any sense. If he was a different player at that same age doing the same things, we wouldn't play him that way, right? If that was Arteta looking, he said, "Oh, that's a nice young player there," and we brought him in, but he wasn't part of our academy, he would play him totally different. But because he's an academy player, I believe they think differently about it, and we wouldn't play him the same way, which I think is wrong. Got to look at the talent that you have and play them the same way, no matter what.
I've been talking about Ivan Toney since last summer, but obviously
me
there
too.
is that betting scandal hanging over his head.
Yeah.
He's going to get a suspension of some sort. I still think it's worthwhile bringing the player in and taking the suspension. Then you have a player in house.
But we think he might get suspended for the entire season, though,
Yeah.
right?
He gets suspended for the entire season. You look a bit stupid, don't you?
If you're going to bring him in, then you have to keep Balogun because you don't know, and then maybe sell Balogun in January.
I don't know.
It's too much of a risk. It's the Basuma thing, right? You bring Basuma
I agree
in.
with Ray. Tony's a good player. I've mentioned him, a while ago as well. Back when when Brentford come up, basically, we said Tony's a good player. So but I think there's just too much risk involved in terms of his suspension. Yeah. I would like us to go for Osimhen. At Napoli.
I told you how to do that. You didn't like it.
What?
I told people how to do it. Nobody wants to do it. The only way we're going to get him, you got to sell Jesus.
Sell everybody.
You got to sell him.
So if you get say we get 50 million for Balogun and Nketiah, then that's 50 million we can put towards him, and you probably got to put in another
50, 60.
Another 50 at least, probably to get him. Yeah. But he could be very good. He looks pretty tidy.
But he's worth the money, right? Even he's worth 100 at this point to us, right?
Yeah. Well, we got to bring in a top level. We just have to. Jesus, he's a good player. I really like him, but he's not top level as when it comes to goal scoring. We need a top level goal scorer.
We've relied on Martinelli and Saka to provide most.
Well, the other guys have stepped up, right? That's what has happened. The other guys have stepped up. Erdegaard has got double figures. Martinelli's got double figures.
Yeah.
Saka, we expect him to be getting double figures, but these other guys have stepped up. And because Jesus hasn't scored that many. I know he's been injured quite a lot, but he hasn't really scored that many goals, really. So we need a prolific striker. That's what we've had at Arsenal traditionally for many years. We've always had we've had quite a you can say we've had some hairy midfields and some questionable players in other positions, but we've normally always had a very good striker. So we need to bring that back.
We need to get back to that. Welcome, Mr. Bungle, who's joined us as well, and
Bal. We got Bungle.
Bal 75 is here as well. Thanks for being here, Bal. Samuel said, I'd say we lost it with our draws against Newcastle and Southampton earlier in the season. Draw isn't a good result, as 30 wins isn't guaranteed.
Or the Everton Brentford.
This is simple,
many spots in the season.
Because the Everton one was the same thing. We're playing against a team in the relegation zone. You're supposed to win that, no matter new manager bounce or not. Southampton, Brentford, you're up 1-0. You need to see this thing out, right?
We're probably going to. We've dropped big points against teams that are going to be relegated. Southampton 2 draws, and Everton. I lost at Everton as well.
Losing Everton was a crap result.
Yeah.
That's no different than the Southampton result, right? I mean, they're both like.
No, of course, but losing against Everton.
There's got to be 3 points in those games. So
we couldn't beat Sporting over 2 legs. What makes you think we'll get through the latter stages of the Champions League?
That's what I've been. Better players by then, Russ. Have you thought?
But we're not going to play this. How are we going to do that, Sam? How are we going to do that? We're not. How are we going to do that?
What are you talking about?
You said we're going to have better players, right?
What is that?
Hopefully, we will. Yeah.
We should get through the group stages, right? We're good enough to get through.
Don't you think we're going to be in a better place next season, or we should be?
I hope so. But we're hit
so that together with Arteta
transfers, right?
That together with Arteta and what he's supposed to give us as a head coach should get us through the group stages, at least hopefully the group stages of the Champions League.
Yeah,
we have to do all of that while maintaining a league position that's in the top 4 as well. We can't just go into a Champions League adventure and let our league
couldn't do
form
it now.
drop off as well.
This is the point. That's why I was saying Russ's point, is a bit moot, isn't it? Because we couldn't go into the Champions League right now with the players we have right now and with how we're doing now. Of course we couldn't. But next season, we'll hopefully have 2, 3, 4, 5 new players who will improve us. The other players have hopefully improved, ready for next season, ready to step up even more. So when you add all that together with Arteta, who's hopefully learned some things, hopefully he's learned some things as well, it'll improve us in the Champions League.
Yeah.
There's a lot of hope in the Arteta thing. I
Well,
want it to be.
I
to be right though.
I think he's learned to a point where he stopped tinkering. He stopped trying to play these mind games with Pep. He didn't really try to do anything crazy. That could be a detriment as well, right?
Something crazy by not doing anything. So that's the problem. Like you just said, he didn't do anything. No, that is the problem. He needed to do something to get something out of this game. Standing pat and doing nothing actually was no different than false 9. You know what I mean? Because there was nothing in the 3 games beforehand that told you we play the same way with the same team. We're going to see better results against the best team in form right now. Nothing. So for me, that was an easy one, an easy thought process as to how do we handle this game. What was wrong in the last 3 games with the way we play with the players that we had on the pitch? Can we do better? Yes, Trossard. Can we do better? Yes, Jorginho. There were some answers. We didn't try any of them.
Yeah, and unfortunately, we never faced City with our full side either.
Everybody goes back to what if we did play them early in the season? Would we have won that one?
Tony is really banging the drum, I think, and there's probably some validity to that you can catch City earlier in the season rather than when they're building up this head of steam. I think it's very possible we could have gotten a result against them earlier in the season. I was afraid at the time till they would slow our momentum up, but thinking about it now, I would take it. Changes needed against Chelsea, another London derby. Where they will turn up despite their recent form.
Yeah, true.
We certainly need to get back to basics and playing football and winning this game with bringing players in who are in form. You know what I mean, and not just the usual Arteta 11. We need a proper number 9, a real alternative to Jesus. I would love to see us sign a target man. I think Jesus, when Aguero was inside, Jesus was playing on the left wing or the right wing. So Jesus may eventually be that player.
And Aguero was a goal machine.
Yep. I don't know if I take Sadio Mane back from Bayern. He's
got an attitude problem for me. I think he's got a bit of an attitude problem. He's a good player.
I said the same thing about Trossard because I thought there was some problem there.
There's differences though.
I know he made contact, but we've heard things there are bust ups in general. I believe people have said, oh, that's when there's a little bit of fire and passion in the squad when they have these fights and stuff like that, right? So I don't, we're missing that in our squad. I don't know if we're missing people, losing a tooth or something, but we're missing that fire. That
Did Sadio Mane take a tooth from Sané?
No, I'm just saying, like he did get him in the mouth, right? So he did have a
get him in the mouth.
Yeah. No, I did. I would have taken Mane last season, of course, right? But he wasn't coming here, so
wrong attitude for Mane.
I think we can do better than him.
Yeah.
You think so? Do you think wrong attitude in this instance or always
for this player? I don't think.
No. In this instant or always, he's always had a wrong attitude.
I think it's become more prevalent over time.
So you've seen something there all the time?
I say it's become more prevalent over time. It's come out more. This poor attitude of his has become more noticeable in recent seasons, I would say, in my opinion.
I think there's a difference between Sadio Mane's attitude and Trossard. I think Trossard had a little bit of a falling out with De Zerbi, and De Zerbi um, did what he needed to do, and he moved him on because Matoma was coming strong in that team as
Yeah.
well. But Bal said Trossard, top guy, no attitude with Trossard. I think it's slightly different in age and in temperament. I don't think Trossard is any way a temperament as Sadio Mane has.
I guess I'd never heard Mane being a guy with a pretty
You've seen
attitude, looking different.
you've seen Sadio Mane against Arsenal over the years, elbows into Kieran Tierney.
Rodri doesn't. All these players do it against us. It doesn't really matter. We've seen it from all of them. Does that mean they have a bad attitude? Rodri just recently is one guy who can do anything he wants.
He argued a lot
nothing
with
happens.
he argued a lot with Salah as well. At the end,
I always
The
wondered if
Liverpool,
they had a
yeah.
good or bad relationship, and I know it on the pitch it worked. It worked for them. That's why they were so successful. But off the
Was it-
pitch, it sometimes need to work as well because you see it on
Yeah.
the pitch in little
couple of
like if
situations.
Salah scores or if Mane scores,
they didn't
like-
like each other.
they didn't like
Yeah.
you would think they would like have some kind of like moment, right? Even if
Yeah.
Sally like laid it off to Sally, you're like, damn it, you know.
On the field, there was an issue about not passing,
Yeah,
to each other. There was one famous incident. I don't remember the game now. Bal said we'll be in an even better position next season for sure. We are ahead of our plans. I think that's something sometimes an albatross around our necks. We're always seeming to be overachieving.
That's exactly
we
what you
have.
want from your manager and your team. You want them
But
to
it's the
overachieve.
fans.
You don't want them to like just go par. This is what I want out of my team. I want them to overachieve, right? All the time. Right? On a
Yeah.
bad
You-
day, I want them to see it through. On a good
Gareth-
day, they just blow teams away. But overachieving is actually a good thing. We're making it a negative now because it means, guess what? It's okay. No. Overachieving means we always talk about 110%. This is
Yeah.
what it looks like sometimes. It's not a negative. It's actually a good thing.
It is a good thing.
We're saying,
Yeah,
we
you
overachieve, we're ahead of schedule, so that's okay to lay
Gary
down.
and I agree on things. He just packages it like we're arguing all the time.
Gary just likes
agree.
to have an argument. That's what he likes.
Sometimes, because you guys know a lot than me, so when I
Let me
feel like
ask
I
you
got
this,
something,
Gary.
I want to fight. Yeah.
Let me ask you this:
Let me at him. Let me at him. Let me at him.
let me add him. I'll put a caption up here where we are right now, Gary. We've won 23 games, drawn 6, and we have 75 points. Let's say we had 19 points. Now, what have we got? 5 games left. We had 13 points to that tally. We finish on 88. We've won 27 games, drew 6, and lost 4. In the cold light of day, will you say that was a reasonably good season for Arsenal?
It's already a good season for me right now.
Mm-hmm.
I just want us to overachieve now. And
Yeah.
the only way to overachieve is, as you say, maybe to finish with a 4, with
4 or
winning,
5
with
games.
not dropping any points and winning 4, right?
Yeah.
So I kind of feel like we like the whole you have your goal set for the season based on where you were the previous season, and top 4 is definitely was part of that. Winning a trophy was the other part of that. We've killed ourselves on winning 3 trophies, so we have maybe 1 to go, if that. But we want to finish strong. That's how this is one of those things where how you run a race and at the end you want to finish strong, right? You don't want to just be crawling across or over the line. We want to just break through the tape, right?
Yeah.
That's what we
I think these next 5 games are going to be a very important indicator of the mentality left for the remainder of this season from this team. We got 5 games. We can prove that we can push this to the last weekend of the season. We need to do that.
Yep.
We can't just sit back and meekly let Man City have it. And we want. I'm not afraid of other teams retooling this season and having Liverpool be better, Man United be better, Newcastle be better, and have a 3 or 4 way contest, and we need to get better as well next season. Mane has an edge to him that Klopp he did well to control that. In fairness, Klopp, good manager.
You see him pull his hamstring today? That was so funny. He's
Yeah.
pulling his hamstring and running to the official in the midline.
Yeah, and getting in the official face.
He gets it in his face on the way back. You can see him like grabbing his hamstring. Like
now, talking about Sadio Mane, Gary.
yeah.
Jack Grealish. Has his temperament changed over the last 2 years?
He's a donkey. He is a donkey. He put that powder blue shirt on, and he thinks he's like one of the best English players out there.
Really big balls,
smiling all the damn
Really
time.
big
It's
balls.
like I just no. You know what? He can do it because he's having some good days, but maybe that pink powder blue just makes you. I don't like saying the bad
He's
words.
a good player. He's a good player.
So I'm
He's
not
not
calling him
100
a
million.
donkey. You know what? He's a donkey. Would you have him on your squad? I would have had him on my squad, right? Back when we were looking, we're like, let's just beat his team and send them into relegation, and then we'll pick him up. But no, he's a donkey. But you know what? He's just not our donkey. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I think he's he smells his own. He smells his own scent a little bit
you
too
don't
much.
smell, is what they say over here. Don't smell.
That's it. That's the one. Bal said a year ago everyone was crying. We missed out to that team. I think that's what hurt. I see you. He says we've been strong all season. We let slip for sure, but we have jumped massive and surprised everyone all day. At the present time right now, Sam, we're 6 points ahead of where we were last season, with 5 games to go.
Yep, we're doing well. We're in a bit of a blip at the moment, but yeah, we've got 5 games to go. With those 5 games, we want to put as much pressure on Manchester City as possible.
Switching over to Chelsea a little bit. The news of Pochettino is he may not join now till the summer. Right?
Why? What are they waiting for?
Oh, God.
What are you waiting for? What are they waiting for?
I think Pochettino's watched his last couple of games gone, actually, my grandmother's not feeling very well. I'm going to stay here.
There is no reason why they should have him waiting around. He should be in the office, in his office, kicked Lampard out of is it Lampard?
Lampard. Frank's right there.
Tell Lampard, you know what? This office isn't yours, so don't bother even coming here. Just go to there's a table outside. That's where you work, and let Pochettino work on what's happening next. Because what's the point? He's not doing anything, right?
No, it's Daniel Levy. That guy is an absolute troll.
If you're looking to change your squad, you can bring your manager in early and let another manager just manage them and maybe get some direction.
No one wants to manage
main
them.
guy. That's becoming it's pretty clear, but now
apparently they've talked to 2 or 3 managers, big names, and all of them have rejected them. Nagelsmann rejected them. Who else they talked to? There's a couple of other guys I saw mentioned, big names. They've rejected them. Say no, we're not interested.
I
just sound like Chelsea fan.
What did I say? That was Chelsea. I just said how things should be, right?
We have to make an offer first. Is that in regards to Chelsea? I don't know. Chelsea are worried for our financial fair play. It doesn't seem to bother City. It doesn't seem to bother Newcastle, who are moving like that as well. But yeah, I don't know why Pochettino would not, if he's going to be the manager of Chelsea in the summer, why he would not get himself in there and try to put a framework in there. I'm quite happy he's not going to start before Tuesday. Do you know what I mean? But because I do think he may give them something, Gary, that Graham Potter couldn't.
Yeah, we don't seem to do good with this new manager bounce sometimes, and that would be a really, really scary time, right? That would be that. The football gods would be like, "Yes, this is how I set this up," right? Arsenal haven't won in 4. Playing Chelsea. Oh, new manager bounce. Check. Let's do that. Let's see how that one pans out. So yeah, no, it's good that we're not worrying about that, but we still have to go out there and play some football, some better football. Yeah.
Mr. Tom, we're shouting for you and Leeds. I know today seems like a bad day to you, but it's like Arsenal. You just have to take your defeat and dress yourself down and go again for your next game. And I can say right now, I don't think you're the third worst team. I don't think you're in the bottom 3, but obviously Leeds have to go and get the results to keep them up. And we hope that you can get out of jail. Get out of jail. Bad day, said Mr. Tom. Yeah, you're probably feeling even worse than a bad day, right? The Chelsea job was like playing football manager, but letting the director of football make all the signings. And his stats are 1 for 20, with 20 being the highest, 1 out of 20. We don't want the narrative to be Chelsea come into the Emirates and make Arsenal sad, Gary.
Yes, sir.
On Tuesday, you know what I mean? We don't want that to be the case.
No, that is true. Very true.
So we need to be ready. We need to have lifted ourselves by Wednesday to go again. So
that is correct, sir.
So Sam, looking into the summer a little bit, right? We're talking about players coming in. We need a center forward. We need somebody in midfield. Is Rice your player?
I like Declan Rice. I've seen a few West Ham games this season. He's played very well. He's certainly going to give us a lot more than what Thomas Partey's doing at the moment. Let's put it that way. He's a lot more consistent than what Partey is. He's more suitable to the Premier League, I think. And he's an excellent player. Declan Rice is a player you got to watch him really closely to see what he does.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't do like spectacular things. He's not doing all these fancy things, but he breaks up play so well. He reads play so well. He protects the defense so well, and his passing is pretty good as well. He's got a good passing foot. He's not going to be one of these guys who's going to come up and give you goals and assists. Well, I don't think so, but he's going to support that midfield, and he's going to support the defense, and he's going to break up play, and he's going to give us a lot more possession than what we already have in terms of getting the ball back. So I like Declan Rice very much. I think he's the guy we should go for. And I saw Ornstein was tweeting that apparently, according to the insiders or whatever, we're going to go after both Declan Rice and Caicedo. We're going to go for both.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't see that happening. I can't see us going for both. But yeah, I want Declan Rice in that role. If you're just talking about the midfield role now.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what you're saying there, Sam. He's not spectacular. He might get another goal or a few more goals. He might get a few more assists playing in this Arsenal team. But the big benefit for him is security and solidity in midfield. Yeah. He's going to allow us to have a lot more of a foothold. He's going
to protect our back line a lot better than what Partey does at the moment. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. And where we're talking about Partey looking like a spectacular Partey for about 10 games at most this season, because we do have a lot of control against other teams. Declan Rice can do that for us, where he'll get noticed away to Liverpool, away to United, away to Newcastle, away to the Etihad. These are the type of players you're going to need to have in your side to go to these difficult away grounds. Because we should get our fair share of wins at home and against a lot of teams, but these 5 or 6 away grounds are going to be key next season.
No, as you say, Partey has shown that on his day he looks really good. Could be considered one of the best in the world on that day. Rice doesn't need to for us. He just needs to be, as you say, consistently good as a Premier League, defensive mid, and he's shown that. So that's what we kind of need, and another leader on the pitch would be really good to have as well. So I think it's an easy one. I think Casado, we would take a little dip, and probably, we would miss that leadership that Rice would bring us for sure. The talent might be there, but it's still growing, and that's the things that that's the problems that we're having. It isn't that we don't have talented players; they don't have. We're asking them to do things too soon, right? We're asking Saka to be one of the best, wings out there, along with Martinelli
and world football.
and Erdogan, right? We're asking them to be some of the tops out there, comparing them to the tops out there. They're not gonna match them, which is fine because we don't need them to. Not today, right? They still got 2 to 3 years until they're at that peak where you're like.
And Declan Rice is a leader as well, like you say, Gary. So him come in gives us more leadership as well, which is what we want. We want another leader like that. He's ambitious. He's a leader. He's exactly the type of player that we want.
Yeah, everything seems to fit with him.
Yeah.
I always talked about age dynamic, and we've done that a little bit with bringing Jorginho and Trossard in, because they give us players 28 and up that have the experience, but it can also perform. That's what we've been missing sometimes. We actually have players that can do that now, which is good, and then we've got young players that they're gonna either wear down mentally, physically, but they're not. They don't need to be ready just yet. So I know I repeat myself, but it works for me. And
well, good. Well, good. Declan Rice, he's 24, I think. So he's still got his best years ahead of him.
He's just coming into his prime. He's coming into his prime.
Seems like he's been on the scene for many years, because he has
24.
Been.
I didn't think he was that young, right? Because that's like Tierney's what, 24, 25, and we're like, he's just old in the sense that he's all beat up. We can't depend on him for a full season, right?
Yeah.
So that's another thing you're going to get from Rice, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully he'll be able to play 40, 50 games in a season.
Yeah. When Harry Kane does hang up his boots for England, Declan Rice would be one of the candidates to be captain of England as well. So previous years, we have looked at Declan Rice and said, we're not in a position to get a Declan Rice. Always going to be Chelsea, always maybe going to go to Chelsea, but our ambition now matches Declan Rice's ambition.
Yeah.
And realistically, Sam, if he's looking at Chelsea, he can't think that that's a good place to go, right?
No, this is what I'm saying. This is what I've been reading, right? So pinch of salt, but
sure.
What I've been reading is Declan Rice would like to come to us. We're apparently his first choice at the moment, and that is because he likes what Arteta's doing. He likes the group of players. He's best buds with Saka.
Mm-hmm.
Him and Saka are like,
peas in a pod.
They're like
two peas in a pod.
2 peas in a pod. I was going to say that film again, Dumb and Dumber. Jim Carrey and Jeff Bridges. They're best mates. They when the England squad comes together, they're with each other all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're looking a lot better as a team, and we know we've been challenging for the title, which is what he wants to do. And now we're in the Champions League. I think that is pushed him in our direction. If it would have been last season, if it would have been like the summer to last season, no way, you wouldn't be looking at us. But now, where we are now, our progression and all these things I've just said, Declan Rice is in line to come to us, and it's going to be interesting to see if Edu can do the job, because that's going to be a test for Edu, because West Ham are not going to let him go for nothing. They're going to want to get as much as they can out of that deal, and they're going to want to make it difficult for us. So Edu is going to have a challenge there doing that, and he's going to have to cough up the money to do it, because they're not going to let him go for nothing. But we'll see. We'll see what Edu is made of when it comes to this summer.
If he's learned enough, in my eyes, like before he goes on his summer break, he's got his red shirt. All right, that's all, and he's got his locker space.
That's what I want too. I want that.
I don't like this. Like At least one. Can you give me one player before they go on summer break? They have a locker and a shirt, right? Because just
Yeah,
one. Because I don't. It would be nice if it was Rice, but give me one. Because players are being sold and ready to go day one to at a lot
yeah,
of clubs, and we are, as you say, in a good situation where you want to be on this train. We're on this train ride that we're on, right?
yeah,
We're only expecting to get better. The younger players are only going to get better, right?
yeah,
Hmm.
Saliba, Saka, Martinelli are only going to get Erdegaard. They're only going to get better. Ramsdale only going to get better, right? If Reece
yeah.
Nelson or Emil Smith Rowe stay around, only going to get better, right?
I would like
I
to, you know
mean,
what? I would like to give Reece Nelson, sorry, it's a little digression there, but I would
Hmm.
like to give Reece Nelson a new contract.
Yep.
I'd like to see him what he can do now because the last few games he's played, he's been very good.
Yep.
He can be a tidy little squad player for us to come on and in attack, and help us. He's been a game changer a couple of times he's come on. So if his contract to expire now, I'd like to give him a new contract.
Yeah. In terms of players in our squad who are trending up or down, Reece Nelson's trending up.
He came out of nowhere. He was useless on loan at that club.
Yeah.
He was at the first few games he played earlier
He's
this
got.
season. He wasn't very good,
He
and
can
now
carry the ball. He can dribble with the ball. I don't think we have a lot of enough players in our team that does this.
yeah,
Carry the ball. Maybe Jack Wilshere, Cazorla, were those type of players who carry the ball with them.
yeah,
Emil Smith
I
Rowe
like
likes to do it a little bit as well, but Reece Nelson can break through the lines as well.
I like him. I like him. But we was
Mhm.
talking about upgrades. So upgrades in the summer. What other positions do you think, Ray, we should go for?
Um, Obviously, I'd just stick on Rice a little bit.
Yeah,
I told Gary, don't expect him the first day of the window to be at Arsenal. It's going
I
to
no,
be.
don't, I don't, I don't like you, and you're like just killing
I
my
try to
dream with.
temper. I try to temper your enthusiasm. It's Arsenal as well, and Edu has a hell of a job trying to do that. West Ham know that he's leaving. The It seems to be a lot of things like Klopp used to do. Arteta's been doing, shaking hands and hugging. Ian Wright and Saka have been with Rice as well. But yeah, a couple of other players. I'm not interested in Mason Mount at all. I like the look of this Kudos guy that we're talking to, maybe looking at from Ajax. We need to look at a right central defender as well, Sam.
yeah. We need
You
to
know,
bring in someone who's top level there who can come in and sort of, not miss a beat. It's difficult because you're looking at a level where someone's probably going to want to play more games than what they'll get. And when you look at maybe the alternative being a talent, it's like, is he going to be good enough? Is he going to be, is he going to step up to the plate when he's needed? So it's difficult to strike that balance. But there are players out there who can do that job. And we need to get someone they cost money. They cost money, these players, but we need to spend some money on that position. That's for sure.
Mason Mount and N'Golo Kante probably knows for me on both of them.
Yeah,
Maybe we could.
Kante's the backup, isn't he? But Kante's just going to be backup.
Mason Mount could be a player, but I'm just I think there's more negatives about him.
I don't think we need him. He's a decent player. I think there is a good player in him. When you've got the right setup and the right players around him doing the right things, I think there is a decent player in Mason Mount. But I just don't think we need him. Not with the players we've got. He's not really a step up from where what we have.
Mm-hmm. Welcome, Stan, as well.
Yeah,
What about Ollie Watkins? Bal agreed
him.
on Rice, but what do you think about Watkins?
I like him. He can be again. He's not a proven clinical striker yet, but he scores goals for a team that's not very good. Well, they're better now, obviously under Emery, but
Yeah.
traditionally hasn't scored many goals, but he's getting better. He's scoring more and more goals. He's looking more and more clinical, and I think in a season or two he could be, a lot more clinical. I think he's a good shout, but he's not the top level striker we would want to go for, though, is he? That's the thing.
Wouldn't he be a slight upgrade on Nketiah?
He would be a definite upgrade on Nketiah, definitely, in my opinion. Yeah.
Okay.
But we don't want.
We want better.
We don't want somebody better than Kenny, but we also want somebody that pushes Jesus out of the middle, right?
Yep.
Like when they sign. Like when
Took
they
away.
sign, you're thinking Jesus' days in the middle might be numbered, right? Not like, well, in a
Mhm.
year or two, maybe when he pans out, it'll work. Because I think we really want to be able to put that player in today, kind of thing, right?
Yeah,
I don't know if Ollie Watkins is that player, but um,
I
not
think
if
he
you
can come in.
not if you're looking at an Awesome who could actually be in your if you're saying with with some sales could be definitely achievable, right?
I think Watkins
So
can come in and do a decent job for us. To be honest, I think he'll score some goals. He'll definitely be a pretty good upgrade on Nketiah for sure. But he's not. He's a good upgrade on Nketiah,
Yeah.
but he's not top level,
Yeah.
which
so
is what we want.
So
is-
don't what? Oh, that's sorry. One thing, don't
mm,
we need a world class player in this squad next season?
Yeah, so it was just talking about Watkins. We got asked about Watkins.
No, no,
We
no. I'm
just
just
gave an
saying
opinion
because
on him.
that's where like
But I would rather, if I'm going for someone, I'd rather go for Osimhen,
top
someone like that.
top shelf. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Who do you think's looking for a striker in England this summer? Manchester
Yeah.
United,
Manchester United probably.
Chelsea,
Chelsea most likely. Yes. Yep. Yep. It's
and
going to be.
ourselves. Right.
So it's you got big money clubs going for the same players. That's going to be our problem.
Yeah.
Osimhen and Vlahovic and these guys who possibly they can be sold this summer. You
Do
got
we think?
Chelsea.
I
Chelsea
want us to
massive
go
one
out
for
and
them.
get our man, not have to settle for what other
No,
teams
I'm
don't
just trying
want.
to like sort
No, no, I'm
through.
just saying like the mindset has to be this is our man, we're gonna go get him. It's gonna cost us whatever
Mhm.
it's gonna cost us, and
Yeah.
either we throw down the money or we just walk away. None of this dilly dally, 2 and 3 offers. It doesn't make any sense. We waste our time consistently on those things, right?
Do
How
we?
often are we like we're gonna go back in and change the goalpost 5 mil? It doesn't
No,
change anything, right?
no, you're right.
Just pay the man. Say this is what I'm going to pay you, and then walk away.
Yeah.
Because that's what we got as a as the quote keeps coming up. We got bigger fish to fry, but we got
Mhm.
lots of things we need, lots of players we need to bring in. We can't sell.
Mm.
We
For
can't
us to
spend.
go,
We can't do a Vlahovic again, where we're spending a whole window on one player, and then he doesn't actually want to come play for us,
we
anyways.
do. We do have a lot of work to do in this summer, in the sense that we're going to have to probably drop 200 million at least, and
Oh,
have
at
some
least.
sales, help fund those things as well.
Are you
And we
saying
know,
200? Are
We
you
want
saying
top
it's
level
200?
players.
Is 200 including the sales?
yeah, I would stump up 200 million, and also need to have, if we're selling Balogun, add that to the kitty as well. Because we need about 3 players at least: a striker, a midfielder, and a center defender to cover for Saliba. You know,
Mm.
do you feel that Harry Kane's going to go to United?
If he wants to win something, he's got to go somewhere. But yeah, I mean, it's United. I think seem to be the favourites to get him, but I don't know. I just can't see it happening. Really, I just can't see him leaving Tottenham.
Yeah, or Daniel Levy letting that happen. I'm
Yeah,
sure
he's
there's
going
going
to
to be
want
a lot
so
of
much for him.
there's got to be a lot of turmoil going to be happening at Tottenham as well. If those fans are not protesting against that ownership.
You can't. They can barely bring in a manager, and they don't have a plan that really you could see it through with Kane there. What manager can come in and go, okay, with Kane, I can see us being able to make this like change in the way that we set up our team and all of that. It's not
No,
there. That's not there. So either you let him go or you spend the money to keep him and you build around him, right? What's the point of not building around him? And then like I know this is helping them out, but it's just like I like what you're doing to the squad, but it's too easy to fix. All right,
yeah,
Mhm.
you either sell him or you build around him. He's the best player you've got right in the history of your team, probably the way things are right now, right? The way they're treating him and all of that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a
So then
record goal scorer
so
for
give
them.
him the right answers, and
Yeah.
that would be one, the guy on the end of the bench, and then the players that he picks. Right? That's what I mean. That's what the best player. In, The best player. You know, 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 the best player. You know the top striker in England should be deserving of. Right? I don't know. I'm happy they're doing what they're doing, but it's
So the where I was going to go is in the chat as well. Now they've broached the topic. First, I'll get through this one. Nelson is going to reach his prime with us, said Bal. Mount would be good in Xhaka's role. Would score and assist more. But defensively may not be there. There's negatives around Mount. Here's the question coming up. I think maybe the Assemble said it. Would you take Kane if you wanted to come to Arsenal? We have another London Colney press conference where instead of Sol Campbell comes out, you've got Harry Kane coming out. Wouldn't that be sort of epic in terms of like, I'm looking at 20 goals. You know what I mean?
Let's see, Mr. Tom.
Mr. Tom is leaving us. Thanks for being here, Mr. Tom. Have a good evening. Sam, imagine that. We got emergency press conference.
I don't want Kane. I really don't. I can't stand the guy.
He put the red shirt on, you'd feel differently about it.
Oh God, no. Yeah, I mean, if it happened, would I be protesting and going out in the street waving a sign around? No, I probably wouldn't. I'd be okay. Kane is our player. He's a good player. He will score 20 goals for us most likely. Yeah, you're right.
Everything you want from a striker, he does.
I can't stand him. I just hate him.
But you know what? That's his job. That's his job. Think about all the players from other squads. That's their job, is to piss you off.
He's a diving, cheating wanker.
Yes, because he's for the other team, and he gets the call.
And he can't talk properly.
You wouldn't. You wouldn't care as long as he keeps scoring.
No, I know. It's never going to happen. Let's be honest. It's never going to happen.
Probably won't happen. Yeah. But it would be interesting how us Arsenal fans would.
But that's why it's okay that he goes to Manchester United, right?
Yeah, he's going to go there and score 25.
That's a striker off the table for one of our rivals that won't affect our business. Hopefully, all right.
Yeah. So. Sell Balogun and Nketiah and put the funds towards Osimhen. Yeah, we've been saying that. Some of us would sell more of the team to do that.
I am the crazy one here. I'm trying to get more. I don't want to spend any money. Just get him, right? If you can sell Balogun and Jesus and Nketiah for the 100 mil that you need, done. All right.
Upgrade on Nketiah, impossible.
Done.
Ballon d'Or for Eddie. If we sign Mount, then sign Rice. Signing Rice might be easier. Yeah, look, I think Saka is going to be enough of a attraction for Declan Rice to come. The fact that he doesn't want to maybe leave London as well, makes us attractive. Leeds gets banged everywhere they go.
He was running Mr. Tom out. He did a good job.
Watkins was fired for Brentford. Why sell Balogun when we need a forward? He could give us more than Watkins. That's the club is going to make decision on that, Stan,
Balogun.
Who's going on about Balogun?
Stan's like, why would we sell Balogun when we do need a forward? It would be one less item on the list that we need to get. Put the money in midfield and defense, then, Sam,
He's not good enough. Balogun's not good enough just because he's banging in a few goals for a team in France. He's not top Premier League level, and we can't wait.
You don't know that. You can't say that.
I do know that because he's not going to come into the Premier League.
The voice of reason. I said you were the voice of reason, and now
he's not going to do that. He's going to take another season or two to adapt into the Premier League and blah 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 blah. No, we need a top level striker now.
Well,
if Balogun's not going to come in and give us 20 goals.
Sam, we didn't know Ivan Toney was Premier League ready until he came into the Premier League.
Yeah, he's been in the Premier. He came into the Premier League, didn't he? And did that.
Yes, Balogun would come into the Premier League.
He's already been in the Premier League.
Well, he hasn't had a fair shake of it. Come on, really?
Yeah, I know he hasn't had more than like 2 games or whatever, but the games we've seen him in the games where he should be scoring, he hasn't exactly done that either. So
at Brentford, we didn't have a big enough of a team against Brentford that Friday night. We're beaten 2-0.
Oh, excuses.
So you're going to say lightning in a bottle again, right? So Saliba has a outstanding performance in the French league, and Balogun has an outstanding performance in the French league. When they come to Arsenal, they continue that, and it's like they never. It's like they always played there. Is that what you think would happen? Twice,
Gary. Gary, what you just said there is pretty much is not really correct, because
I'm with Gary on this one.
Saliba didn't just Saliba. He was nominated the best young player in France.
Yeah. Well, we don't know that yet for Balogun.
Because
Yeah,
he was playing with
Balogun hasn't
Marseille.
finished the
Best young
season
player in
yet.
France. He's not going to win the
Because
best
he
young
was
player.
playing
No, I
with
get it, but I'm
Marseille.
just saying what Ray wants us to hope for is that lightning strikes twice, because that's what would have to happen if Balogun comes in and gives us 20, 25
He scored how many goals for?
contributions.
He scored how many goals for him? What,
It's like
15?
17 or 18 now, I think. The last time I looked, I
Is
believe.
it 17 or 18?
Yeah,
Well,
That's
he's
the French league. It's the Mickey Mouse
Now,
league.
make up your mind. Which one is it?
What?
So Saliba was the best defensive player in France, but it's
Yeah,
the
but
French league. Which
he's-
you can't have it both
It's
ways.
different. He's not
You
the
can't
top
have it
scorer.
both ways. So then you're telling me he went up against weak opponents then, Saliba, or
Yeah,
did he go against good ones?
Saliba was voted the best player, young player in France.
Yes, sir.
Balogun, that's a whole different level than Balogun scoring
Balogun hasn't
17,
finished
18
the season
goals.
yet. You
It's a
already
different
saying,
position.
how can you?
But I don't think he would come in. He's not that. He's not. It's okay. So let's fuck Osimhen. fuck Vlahovic. Let's go with Balogun.
I got you cursing.
Stan, we're going to go with Balogun next season. And when we don't fucking win the league and we don't fucking get through the group stages of the Champions League, I'm coming back to you, Stan.
No, you're not coming back to me. I'm trying to. Why are you going after me for?
I'm talking Stan. I'm saying Stan as
Oh,
well.
Stan. Okay,
Stan loves Balogun.
Yeah, but
let's go for it.
No,
He's
you know what?
obviously a top-level
I'm
striker,
just
isn't he?
asking a question because
Well, some say he's not
the
good
same
enough.
can be said of Balogun as it could be of Saliba. We don't know
I'm saying he's
Saliba
not
wins.
good enough.
You're saying he won't win it, okay? But we didn't know Saliba was going to win it
is
either.
not that top-level striker. He's not
Okay,
that
but
top-level striker.
we didn't know that about Saliba until he played with Marseille.
Well, we saw Saliba was a top-level striker top-level defender in France. Yes, we did see that. We did see that.
All right, but now we're seeing Balogun, one of the top goal
You're saying
scorers
he's a top-level
in France.
striker? No, I'm not. He's not.
The charts, the scoring charts.
Yeah, but he's had loads of games.
And Ravenite's basically throwing the bomb on this whole thing.
He's had loads of games.
Lacazette is up there in the top scorers in France as well.
He scored goals. He's one of the top scorers. He was the third top scorer now, isn't he?
Yeah, he's behind Mbappe.
Is it just Mbappe? I thought there was another guy ahead of him.
Maybe
as well.
Lacazette.
I think
he's done well.
He's
done well in France, but
like
he's not a top level striker.
But he can be.
Yeah, but so what? So he's going to come into our team next season, and he's going to help us win the league. Is that what you're saying?
First of all, he's not going to get all the minutes. You know that, right?
So would you rather just go with Balogun, or would you rather get a top level striker? What would you rather do?
I would probably get a top level striker.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
That is not to say the Balogun could not light it up.
Well, that's exactly what you're saying, because you're going for a top level striker. That's exactly what you're saying. Because I said, would you prefer a top level, go and buy a top level striker, or would you like to use Balogun?
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you, but that's not that both things can be right.
You can't. You can't do both.
We can't do both. Both can be right.
Yeah.
How can both be right if you're buying a top level striker and then obviously you're playing?
Well, there's no guarantee either. There's no guarantee you buy a top level striker. There's
no guarantee for anything in this life. But it talks of probability, right? You're talking probability.
Right. Let me ask you one question, Sam. If Balogun comes in next season and plays for Arsenal, how many goals would he score to convince you? And let's say he plays 30 games. How many goals would you be happy to see?
So say that again. What did you say?
If Balogun is given a chance next season and he gets 30 games.
30 games, right, yeah.
How many goals would you say would be a success?
15.
15. Okay, 1 and 5, 1 and 2. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll remember that one.
But that's not going to happen because Balogun's not even ahead of Nketiah.
I know, right now.
So
Right now, you're right. That's like saying Kivior is not ahead of Holding right now, but can be
yeah,
next
but
season. You know what I mean?
would we think Kiwi is going to come in and be our savior next season? Is that what you? I wouldn't say that.
Not our savior, but I think it's going to look better if he.
I would rather go out. I'm saying Balogun is not good enough to be a leading, playing first team striker for us next season. Sorry, he's just not good enough for that, in my opinion.
Okay,
I would
that's
rather
fair enough.
buy an Osimhen or a Vlahovic or someone of that ilk. I'd rather spend that money and do that than use Balogun. That's what I'd rather do.
Yeah.
And because
No.
Balogun's going to want first team football, he's not going to, he's going to have problems, isn't he?
Why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't you expect him to get first team football? Why wouldn't you expect him to be able to play for the first team?
What Jesus? He's not going to play ahead of Jesus, is he?
No, but they're going to rotate, right?
No,
he's not. It's so. No.
No,
he won't play.
Has he rotated Jesus when he's fit?
That's the problem, isn't it? It's a problem. That's the problem right there.
And Nketiah's there,
but we still. Yeah, no, like I said, if Balogun comes, he has to play. I don't know. Not necessarily he's going to knock somebody to the bench every game, but
So what's Nketiah going to do then? Is he going to become the ice cream man?
I don't know, and sometimes I don't care.
I think you give Balogun the opportunity.
You're making me say this, right? So,
it's a valid question, Gary.
Sometimes I want to move. I feel like I want to move on.
No. You want Balogun to come in and rotate with Jesus. So what happens to Nketiah? Because Nketiah is ahead of him.
I know.
Yeah, but performances will dictate whether he stays ahead of him or not, Sam. You know.
So what happens to Nketiah then?
Tybe is on your side. Balogun has had his chances.
That's all right.
I don't think
we always said you needed 3 strikers in the first place. So then now we have 3.
Yeah, but Anyway, I'd much rather spend money on.
I was only backing up Stan's thing because I'm like, isn't that similar to what we just saw? We saw a similar thing with one of our players going out on loan, performing well in the French league. That is the goal, right? That's the goal.
I'm going to use your jargon against you. There's levels to this thing.
No, the level is if you want to get
Vlahovic
and an Osimhen are at different levels than a Balogun.
No, I'm saying Saliba. We knew Saliba was top draw when he went to France. He was already top draw.
We knew he was a good prospect. He was a prospect.
We knew he was top draw.
No, he goes to France.
He goes to France, and he absolutely,
Why did we send him on loan so he could get some first team football and develop, Sam?
Because
that's what we did with Saliba.
But many people felt, and this is what we'll never find out, right? This is all theoretical.
It is all hypothetical.
But many people also felt that Saliba probably could have come and done the same job for us. He was mature enough to do what he was mature enough to do in France. He was mature enough to do for us. Many people have said that. We won't know that, but. He had already been out on loan, for like 2 seasons before then. So, anyway.
It's hard to know. We send players out on loan to develop. Saliba developed for 2 seasons, played really well for Marseille, got his chance. I happen to believe the timing was right for Saliba. If he'd played in the Premier League, it could have been more damaging last season than this season. It's my opinion anyway.
Well, Arteta felt he did the right thing, and hindsight being 2020 as it is, it looks like he did the right thing. Saliba's come back to us, done great, had a fantastic season. Brilliant. But I'm just saying, we already knew he was that good. Well, potentially that good when he went to France, and he could have possibly. I'm not saying probably. I'm saying possibly. What many people have been saying, he could have possibly done the same job for us last season as he did in France.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying, I don't know what Stan's going on about Saliba got no minutes for us. Yeah, we know that. I'm just talking about hypothetically, he possibly could have done the same job for us as he did in France.
I just think you're looking at a player who's really, really good prospect, came with good recommendations in Saliba.
Yeah.
We developed him
What
right.
did Balogun do? What
Well,
did Balogun
he's
do?
at the start. He's at the start of that process. We're seeing Saliba at the
Exactly.
end of it.
Saliba was way ahead of him than what Balogun is.
Yeah, Saliba's had 2 seasons. Balogun's had 1
Yeah.
real solid season. Whether he comes back next season or if he's sent out on loan again, who knows?
It's still sort of. I still think it's sort of, means that it's not really the type of guy you would want to lean on to be in a to. Balogun's not the striker you're going to want to bring back into the team and lean on.
Yeah, it's going to be a question of finances, right? And where we want to spend our money, really. And if we're spending our money in midfield, we may need to have a Balogun.
Is a golden opportunity we can cash in on.
Yeah,
because now we want to get to that next level.
Yeah,
right. To me, we want to move to that next level. Balogun, someone we can use to sell to get some money that we need.
Yeah, I don't think you're wrong in saying that, and I don't think it would be wrong if he would come and play with us next season as well. You know what I mean? Sam's right. Big clubs don't want youngsters to develop in the first team. Yeah, I think it is all hypothetical as well. You are. It is a guess as in terms of what Balogun could do, or if he's good enough for us next season.
Yeah, it is all a hypothetical. I'm just saying. And you've got your opinion. Stan's got his opinion. I've got my opinion. In my opinion, Balogun doesn't seem to be good enough. That's my opinion. There was when he went to France, Balogun. He hasn't showed that much for us. He's shown some promise. He wasn't good enough to start ahead of Nketiah. Nketiah was ahead of him and he goes to France. He scored 17, 18 goals. Yeah, good. You scored some goals over there. But, is he going to be player of the season that Saliba was? No. Saliba was player of the season. So, anyway, I don't think we need to go spend more time on that.
No, definitely.
Because we're trying to win the league, Stan. We're trying to win the league. We're not trying to develop players all the time, everywhere, all the time. We are at some point we're going to try and win the league.
If he's given a chance, it wouldn't necessarily mean he's going to be the first striker either. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's not going to be rotated in. That's the problem, though, is it? You see, Arteta probably wouldn't rotate like that.
Yeah, and Sam is having his opinion, and we're testing it here, and the chat box is
moving goalposts. Not really, no, not when you compare them. So what we do? So what we do? We're comparing. We're saying Balogun is comparable with Saliba. Is that what we're saying?
I'm saying it could be a similar.
You're looking
situation.
at before they went on loan.
Yeah.
I'm looking at where they are in the loan. So there you go. That's the difference. Yeah, if you put on the fact that Saliba coming into Arsenal was considered a future center back in a world-class center back potentially based on the way he was trending, then yeah, the two don't match. But I'm looking at the loan itself and what it's done, and a player that goes out there and scores. He scored 18 goals in the league right now, sitting right behind Lacazette. So I don't know if that's a good. That doesn't really help our cause, right?
and Mbappe, so he's third then.
Yeah.
He's fourth because Jonathan David is after Mbappe and then Lacazette.
So
he's up there in some good company.
He's got 18 goals. He's got 18 goals in a big league, right?
Yeah,
one of the top leagues in the country. But He's got 18 goals. When's the last time any of our players have scored 18 goals?
They didn't do it in France.
No, it's a number.
I think the situation is we've seen with Saliba, we've seen the full movie. I think with Balogun, we've only seen half of the movie, and we need to see the rest of the movie. That is probably the best analogy that I can put for Balogun. And we don't know where he's going to get the chance to prove himself. You know what I mean? It could be at another team. We may have cashed in. How do you know that? It's all opinion, right? That's what we're all about here.
It's good debate.
and I would be ready to receive you, Sam. I don't know what else.
Stan says he's ducking when you come in. So
You better run for your life when Sam's
he's
coming
gonna
after
have
you.
like the sirens and stuff when Sam lands. It's like the siren's gonna go off. It's like, what's going on? Sam just arrived. I'll be
You know,
back.
Stan wants to play Balogun. Stan wants to play Balogun next season. Let's just play Balogun and let's see what happens.
I think, Sam, the unfortunate thing is Arsenal doesn't have unlimited expense or unlimited resources.
No, so that's why you sell him.
We could sell him, but we'd have to spend some to get a better striker in there.
Well, that's what you
we'd
do,
have to-
right? That's how
Right.
football works, isn't it?
And then we'd have to
That's why
pay
that's why
for.
Jesus has to go too. In my crazy mind, okay.
There's
Sell everyone then.
Let's just
Sell
go get.
everyone.
No, really though.
Let's sell
there
like
is-
3 players, not 20 players. Come on, Stan, not that crazy.
Sell all our forwards, basically. All of them.
Stan is reaching out to a personal security team as we speak. Gary's defense is in trouble. Sexy Sam is in the room.
Yeah, no, I don't even. There's no reason why I should ever I should have just said, all right, sir, and then moved on to the next subject or something. But I kept going. So
I just say
I
Stan.
deserve it.
I understand. Stan normally comes with a bit more sort of clarity, but it's like sell Balogun to buy a player for the same position. Well, yeah.
Well,
You
what
buy
we're
a
looking
better
at,
player.
I
You
think
buy
what
a
we're
better
looking
player
at,
for the
Sam,
same
is
position.
we're looking at the money that we have to spend may go just into midfield and defense, and we have to make do with our forwards and use Trossard more in that situation that we want. You know what I mean?
I think we recognise that with Jesus, right? Okay, we do need a striker that's a prolific goal scorer.
Yeah.
Right? That's what we need.
Or like a
And the
physical
point-
presence up there.
The point with Balogun is an opportunity for us to cash in on him.
Yeah.
We can get some money for him based on his performance in France. It's been a good performance, not absolutely incredible, amazing, stop the world and fucking reverse the world like Superman performance, but he's done very well, and that's why we can cash in on him, get some money, and put that towards a top level prolific striker that's already at top level.
Yeah. Listen, as the host, I'm playing peacemaker a little bit and molding each of your arguments. And I agree with some of the sentiment you're saying, Sam. You have 40 million, 50 million in Balogun, sell, cash in, and put that towards a shinier car. This is all opinion, but Sam's pregnant as fact.
Not really.
He's standing behind his opinion, maybe.
I'm trying to back up my opinion with what I think are good arguments, but I don't know. Maybe
I
they're
just
not.
think we need to see the whole movie, Sam, with Balogun. We know what happened with Saliba. He came with good credentials. He came with good recommendations.
Well, Saliba wasn't an Arteta purchase, was he? That's the thing.
True.
So
Emery.
and then there
Happened
was
under
those
Emery.
issues of him off the field as well, with the stuff going on off the field, and there were issues there. And I think Arteta has taken time to assess him if he's going to be part of the project and everything.
Yep.
So
The unfortunate thing is Tom always says we are just fans. We have a say, we have an opinion, but there's certain people in the club who make decisions in terms of who we're going to bring in, who we're going to sell. It's going to be interesting in terms of what we do this summer. There's lots of ways to do this. Do you know what I mean? What would have happened if Mustafi had signed his contract offer? Would Saliba have been sold, Sam?
We don't know that. So Mustafi was nowhere near the level we wanted. We wouldn't have. No. Saliba was someone we wanted to use. I just think he went out on loan maybe a season longer than what we anticipated. But Saliba was definitely someone we were going to use. That's why he was brought in.
And when you want to get a better car, you trade in your existing car as a down payment towards a new car. So selling Balogun to buy a player for the same position, you're guaranteeing yourself half the price of that new player.
Same thing. You don't sell your 1997 Ford Buick or whatever the car is for a new model, right?
Gary knows. Have you just traded in your
kidding,
car,
but,
Gary?
I get the sentiment, but it's not the same. It's not the same.
Well, it's a
You
down
don't sell
payment.
you don't sell an old car to get a new car. We're talking about selling a new car that's still in the in the factory that we don't know if it's going to be good or not, but we're going to sell it anyways to get a new car that we know works, but it might not be the best going forward, right?
Yeah.
So
And again,
that's the risk you take, and that's the same thing could happen. It could be another Gnabry issue, right, where we let a player go and we never get to see them come to see them through this transition as they go from being a project to being actually ready to go as a first team or first squad.
That's just football. That's football.
Yeah.
Does anyone want to let me know if anyone wants to play Kahoot a little bit later? We'll get out of here pretty soon, though.
Yeah, I got a shift in a minute.
All right. Maybe we'll shelve the Kahoot for next Sunday. Then I've got one ready.
Probably a good idea to do that next Sunday.
But yeah, it's Sam. It's going to be interesting. No matter what we do, we've got the way we're now running the club in a better way. We have some old players that have been at the club, like Pepe, that is still an Arsenal player. We have to deal with some of that situation as well. But we also have to go forward and try to retool for next season.
I see Stan's brought up Gnabry now as well.
Right.
I'm sorry. I'm not trying. I felt like I'm egging Stan on and Stan.
Gary, are you doing this, Gary?
I wasn't trying to.
What was Gnabry when we sold Gnabry? What was he doing for us? He was doing fuck all.
Oh, Gary, you started this.
I did,
and he still did fuck all for 3 seasons after he left.
All right,
we're going to take. How long does someone see after Arsenal before we sort of regret selling him?
I don't necessarily believe this, Stan, that if Tomiyasu had been fit, Saliba would never have started. We don't know, but the injury happened at the same time. Stan, and knowing Arsenal, they'll buy the exact standard player for more money. And we talk. Hawkwin 77. Hi guys.
We haven't seen you for a while.
Yeah. Are you subscribed? I haven't seen you in a while. Slap a like on this as well, people. Can we get 40 million for Balogun? We should easily be able to get 40 million, Gary.
About 30,
if not more.
Yeah, no, definitely.
One of the top scorers in the French league.
Yeah.
Why can't we keep Balogun?
The problem is that the Arsenal tax is very strong with our players. We seem not to be able to sell them for what they're worth, right? So that's going to be that, and that's Adu has to do a couple of things, right? He's going to have to sell his players for closer to their value, or at least, and also bring in some big quality players and not have to overspend. So I mean, that's what he's going to have to do. He has no choice at this point if we're going to see progression with this squad, because we can't be losing out on Rice because it costs too much. Can't be losing on Casado again because it costs too much. Can't be losing out on Osman because it costs too much. Those are the prices for those players.
Yeah,
I don't think any of those players. I don't believe, and you can tell me if I'm wrong. If any of those 3 players are, there'll be the concept of, well, it's too much. Like, it's too much and it's wrong, right? Like, we're not going to overpay. If you're, there is going to be a level, but it's not like you're overpaying for a player. These are quality players out there that people are going to spend a lot of money on.
We'll go for another 5 or 6 minutes here, Sam, and we'll get out of here, right? Stephen, I don't think we're selling Gabriel Jesus after 1 season.
No.
Maybe Nketiah, you know what I mean?
Nketiah about what, 10 million? How much we get for Nketiah? 10 million?
10, maybe 15, yeah.
So, not much point selling him, really, is there?
30, 35 for Balogun. So, and if you're selling Balogun and Nketiah, you should get 50 at least, between the two.
Hopefully.
If we sign Tony, Mayor said, and he comes in swinging, please send all funds to my PayPal account. Yeah, and listen, I'd love to get Ivan Toney. It's just this betting scandal around him.
Yeah, it's a big question mark, isn't it?
Big question mark. He would be perfect for us as well as a focal point, and who could bring Saka, Trossard, Martinelli, and Smith Rowe into the game. Stan, that would be too obvious, but the problem is 100,000 a week. Who is going to give Nketiah that? And then Gnabry stuff. What about Willock? Yeah, listen, I wanted Willock to work for Arsenal, but we got decent money for Joe Willock, and he's He's gone on. Eddie Howe has done a good job with Newcastle. You know.
Yeah, he's done a brilliant job. Newcastle,
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't know if you subbed already. That was great. You have now. Thank you, Hawkwind. Any other points, Sam? I aged tonight after the Liverpool game, 4-3. This is
That was a crazy game today, wasn't it? That was bonkers.
That
really
was
bonkers.
You're really relying on your forward line. This is crazy talk. It's Arsenal talk. Will you guys be able to sell Nketiah £100 a week, 100,000 a week for a player like him? Might be.
That's
hard
a big problem we have, right, with our players. We pay them too much.
Yeah.
So we have a big problem in selling them on.
Harsh.
How much are you to troops?
Harsh.
Wow. What happened to you, man?
I think Stan is having a bit of a giggle here.
And you better not open that door. I'm just telling you now.
Just because I don't think Balogun's good enough, I'm troops. Okay, thank you.
I think he's just having a little bit of a laugh with you, Sam.
Oh,
yeah.
At least that's what I want to think anyway. You know what I mean? All right, let's wrap it up there. Tests ahead. We go again. Newcastle, Brighton, Nottingham Forest, Wolves. But the first one up is Chelsea. Sam, let's wrap it up here. Chelsea's got to be 3 points, whether we mix it up or not. Sam, you have been removed from Stan's will.
Those 4 half-wet spliffs and a couple of pancakes. I'll be all right without them.
There's cauliflower pizza in there too.
Oh no! You know what? You're gonna miss out on the pizza, Sam. I think you should reconsider. Go talk to your people. See what you can do in terms of changing Stan's mind around.
There's a lot of cauliflower pizza in the freezer there, Sam. So think about it. All right, it's been on fire today. That Balogun thing really kicked us off.
Well, we had a contentious point there, which is always fun, isn't it?
Yeah. Listen, you want to finish this out there, Sam, and I'll go to Gary for final thoughts?
Yeah, I'll just go quickly. Just want to say thanks for having me on again. It's been a while.
Thanks for being here. Good to have you in. I called you the voice of reason at the start. I might have to change
the voice of reason until we talked about Balogun. It's like, but anyway, it's always good fun to chat with you guys in the chat as well. Always great participation from the guys in the chat box. We have good fun, and we're allowed to have different opinions. We respect each other for that. And today we had a bit of a contentious point with Balogun, which is great, because normally we were all mostly agreed on everything. So it was fun to have something that was a bit contentious today, which is good, and all in good spirit, which is good. And Chelsea, we got a. Yeah, good one, Stan. Good one. I think Chelsea. We've got to be careful with Chelsea. I'm worried if we play the same lineup with the players who are out of form, that could potentially be a banana skin. I really hope not, because Chelsea they're bad. They're in bad form. They're not playing well. We need to beat them. So I hope we beat Chelsea, get back in line, back to where we want to be, and move on that momentum going forwards. Because as we know, momentum is so important. And just beat Chelsea, move on from that. And also, thanks again. Thanks to you, Ray. Thanks, Gary. Great to see you guys.
Thanks to you, Sam.
And thanks to everyone in the chat, and have a great Bank Holiday Monday.
Yeah, listen, we need to go again. Whether we believe we can win the league or not, the players have to believe in it, Gary.
Yep. And first off, free Trossard, please.
Free Trossard.
Get that man off the bench, please. I mean, I've been saying this for four games now, or 3 games now. He has to play. Come on, Arteta. Listen to the tea leaf. Listen to the wind, or what the tea leaves say. Whatever. Just do it. Do the right thing. Bring that man into the game.
Yeah.
This is the Chelsea team. Like, only Arsenal can probably open up a giant like the Chelsea squad. Think about how Liverpool's been playing since we played them. West Ham since we played them.
Yeah.
I mean, even Southampton has been playing well, right? And City already. All we did for City is just add more gasoline to the fire, all right? Which is them the way they've been playing. So we need to stop that, and we need to shut up the noise, right? Mm-hmm. Shut up the noise, and go out there, get the 3 points, and make it a resounding 3 points, right? Not a squeaky bum time 3 points. Let's go out there and play some Arsenal football like we have all season. Get back on top of the table, right? make City have to win midweek, right? Yeah,
Make City, yeah.
So everybody, thank you
West
for
Ham
joining
are
us.
coming in there. West
Yeah.
Ham are coming to City, and hopefully
Yeah.
they can put up.
Yeah,
I
so-
want
oh.
competition in the league. I want competition in the league, and these teams that are going to face City, we want them to have a go like Fulham did today.
Yeah.
Gary, sorry.
I just wanted to say thanks for having me on, Ray.
Tomorrow.
Sam, it's always great having you on. Tomorrow we'll be on the trip, so we'll see you guys. We'll see. We'll see how the show goes. Hopefully, it's another good one, and we'll go from there. Thank you again.
All right, take care, everybody out there. Yeah, it's been a little bit depressing. Arsenal, April has not been great, but let's start May off with a big win, a London derby against Chelsea. Sam was right on Holland, said to sign him, the Norwegian Balogun, before this season. All right. Take care, everyone. We'll see you on the next one. See you on Thursday.